Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto wins a Pokemon tournament. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Jetsu Homura, link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. The Offer. Naruto. That was the last thing Naruto heard as he was pushed through a random portal, accompanied by a cruel but defeated laugh of Kagaya, letting him know how he ended up seeing millions of colors before blacking out from a combination of fatigue and the G-forces surrounding him. As he was traveling past thousands of potential destinations, a very large bipedal entity felt a strange power enter its realm of influence. The majority of its body has a light pink-gray-white coloring, with linear sections on its body being purple. Its arms and shoulders are covered by large armored plates, and each hand holds 5 nails. This being is called Palkia, and he is referred to as the god of space. The power is unbelievable, thought the dragon. As he made a beedrill line towards the new energy. As Palkia closed in on its target, the Kyuubi thanked his lucky stars he got his other half back during the war, or keeping his vessel alive would be more of a struggle than it was. No wonder the brat isn't waking up, I have felt his body break and tear almost everywhere, the pain he must be in. The Kyuubi trailed off as he felt a humongous energy source that he cannot identify, and this causes him to worry, knowing they were in no condition to contest with something of this magnitude. Shock was the first emotion to plaster across Palkia as he reaches his target, followed closely by confusion. How is a human traveling through space, and what is this energy? Thought the dragon confusedly as he feels the energy react to his presence and cautiously accepts the mental connection he felt forming in the back of his mind. Where am I? Shouts the startled god at the abrupt change of scenery. As he looks around the dingy sewer, he notices the pipes on the walls are cracked in some places and leaking blue or yellow energy in certain spots. He floats down one of the paths leading to the energy and finds himself in an open field surrounded by huge trees with symbols he does not recognize adorning the bark. The Kyuubi roars out his frustration at the boy on the floor. Don't you die on me, you little bastard. I finally have some respect for you, so you better be around to appreciate it. As he continues to heal the boy, showing that it's a wanting battle from the skin tone and labored breathing. The young man in question is 6'3" with a Caucasian skin tone. The hair seems to be fading from a sunshine blonde to a snow white the longer he travels, though space as he is affected by the stress that his body is going through. His only visible scar is the one above his left eyebrow. His outfit consists of red sage coat with a dark gray short-sleeved shirt with a white Uzumaki swirl starting of his heart like a bullseye for his heart. He wears standard Hanbu pants with his kunai and shuriken holster on his right leg. On his left arm he has Konoha headband as long with an Uzumaki one right beneath it, green and red for each country respectively. On his feet are black combat sandals with toe coverings made of metal. Palkia hovers over to the duo, wondering why they were here and how he went from approaching a comet to being in a forest. Giant Ninetales, where are we right now? Kurama, startled by the voice, whips around and yells, finally. You arrive, I have sensed you for quite some time, and seeing how you accepted my invite, I assume you are not here to blast us to oblivion. The Kyuubi states, ignoring whatever a Ninetales is to get to the point. Palkia's eyes widen before getting serious while heatedly asking, will you become a threat? I could show you why that would be unwise. His gem in his arm flashes a dark pink to purple in correspondence with his threat. Kurama, sensing the energy build up, quickly clears it up. No. We need assistance as the brat's body isn't capable of handling the vacuum of space and the speed we are traveling isn't making this any easier. Ending with a sneer, hating to sound weak in front of anyone, be it man or monster. So where are we currently? Asked the dragon in honest curiosity, never seeing any landscape like the one around him. The boy's mindscape, shaped by him after numerous strenuous and hectic situations. Explained Kurama simply. Then we don't have time. Kurama cuts in sharply. I give him another 15 minutes tops out here, even with my help, seeing the hair turning even lighter shades of blonde white and the coughing becoming strained. Look, I will explain in detail everything about us if you can pull his body into a safer area so I can fully heal him. I promise it will be worth, and like this brat beneath me says, I never break a promise. Kurama says while glancing at his host fondly for a second before returning to his tough guy facade. Palkia debates this quickly. They could be dangerous, or they could be an amazing asset if the power output is even a fraction of this feeling. On the off. Let them in. Father. But they could be a danger. Let them in now, Palkia. As you wish, Arceus. Scene change. Hall of Legends. As they exit a portal created by the space dragon, whose name Kurama already forgot, their environment was one of elegance and grace. To Kurama, using Naruto's body to move and interact, it reminded him of the concept of afterlife with a golden gate and marble white columns. The place was in a pocket dimension with numerous chairs designed in weird shapes and a long obsidian black table to fit them all. The most interesting part was the fountain that was beneath the head chair that Kurama assumed belonged to the leader. Kurama suddenly was alerted to the biggest presence he ever felt, eclipsing his de facto father by a decent margin. Kurama first thought when seeing the ginormous creature was that it looked like a kiln, but what was confusing was the ring-like structure around its grey body. He could feel multiple energy signatures that he could not recognize, but could sense that some related to the dragon-like being that led them here. Kurama, the nine-tailed fox Kyuubi and Naruto Uzumaki, I welcome thee to the legendary council in my home. Arceus announces gracefully. Kurama, a little unsettled that he knew not just their names, but also Naruto's last name and his title, chose to answer cautiously, a pleasure to meet you and thank you for allowing us safety. The god of creation laughs, there is no reason to be nervous now, I notice the body of young Naruto is severely damaged, allow me to assist you. As he closes his eyes, Naruto's body glows a brilliant gold and the body quickly heals, but the tips of his hair stay a frosty white. Kurama, feeling the healed body of his charge, finally relaxes and asks demands, what do you want? Arceus smiles, smart, you realize nothing is free, and after reviewing young Naruto's life and seeing his loyalty to a place that did not deserve such a benevolent person, his struggles with acceptance, the betrayal of his best friend, losing his first love, and sacrificing everything in the war but never losing his will, truly a man like no other. That on with it, Kurama snarls, not liking the reminders of the abuse his host suffered. Very well, I have a proposition for the both of you, and accepting is your choice, but I have a feeling that Naruto would accept after hearing about the darker side of my world. Arceus says a little somber at the end. What problems exactly? Kurama answers snidely, not knowing at this moment Naruto has awoken and is listening to the conversation, quietly to not alert Kurama yet. The creator takes a breath, abuse, kidnapping, thievery, and so on, things that you think I should handle, but it has always been my faith that humans can settle their own faults, but recently the incidences have become too high, with no proper person or group doing enough to make a dent, let alone resolve the issue. Again Kurama says sternly, what do you want? A harbinger, a peacemaker, a champion. Arceus stands to his full height. Someone who doesn't think about public opinion, someone who does the right thing even if it isn't the easiest choice or is frowned upon, someone who can turn the tides with his presence alone. I need a Naruto. Kurama, seeing this as another way for someone to screw his host over, gets angry, so saving one world wasn't enough. He must clean up more messes so he can suff. Kurama, stop. Says a shocked Naruto, not realizing how much the Kyuubi cared about him till now and is deeply touched but knows what he must do. I am taking control, Kurama, thank you for keeping us alive my friend, I will handle it from here, you know. Naruto said in gratitude. Whatever brat, hope you know what you are getting into, Kurama replies, a little embarrassed that Naruto hurt him. I knew you were just a big softy. Naruto chuckles, hearing the roar in return. Naruto smiles to himself before his eyes change from the blood red of Kurama to his shining blue, but they also change now with a permanent orangish pigment around their eyes, a combo of Sage Mode and Kurama's chakra while being sent through dimensions, giving a stunning contrast. So, Naruto, I am glad to see you awaken, so after hearing my offer, what do you think? Arceus asks, knowing exactly when Naruto awakened in his mind. Naruto, a little shocked by the statement, so you noticed him? You certainly are powerful, but I have no idea what this energy is and doubt you know mine. Care to explain? Arceus smiles, aura is the life energy of this world, something I see we have in common, and the other is psychic energy or energy of the mind and energy of the psychical. These two energies make up all the Pokemon and a very few humans of my home. So, if you accept my offer, I will have to transfer your inner chakra. Arceus grunts, being interrupted, while Naruto sheepishly rubs the back of his head. Yes, your chakra will be converted as long with Kurama into psychic and aura energies, making you the first to possess both simultaneously as a human. Naruto's eyes widen, but can only think about Kurama, but what if this doesn't work and I lose him, or he dies, or is sent back, or… Kurama growls, hearing this, brat, quit thinking so loud and just accept already. But Kurama. Naruto, I know, does not hesitate, so why now? I'll be fine, you brat. Naruto sighs, fine, you are right after all. Naruto looks up with determined eyes, we accept. Arceus glows bright gold, very well, I will integrate the info you need into both you and Kurama when you awaken, but you will need to scout the world and research more to properly assess the problem. Good luck, my champion. Naruto suddenly feels pain everywhere, and as his vision fades, the last thing he hears is Kurama's pain-filled roar and then silence. Later that evening, Hall of Legends. Appa, do you believe this one man can truly impact the world? A small creature with two small fairy-like wings, a green body and two big blue eyes, asks with innocent head tilt. Time will only tell, as you are aware of. Arceus replies with a small smile, looking at his giggling daughter. She covers her mouth while giggling happily. I cannot wait for the future he will bring. Yes, a storm is coming, a maelstrom to be exact. Chapter 2. Getting set up. Ugh, a sore and exhausted Naruto groans out as he slowly sits up. He then realizes he is on a beach in the middle of nowhere, but shrugs his shoulder feeling his body recover from the conversion. The reference picture the Diablo's Ocean in the Sinnoh region, featured in Cheers of Castaway's Isle episode and is like the Bermuda Triangle in real life. Naruto walks over to a nearby stream and is shocked by his reflection. The scars on his cheeks from Kurama's presence are gone, leaving a sharp angular face, but what shocks him the most are his eyes. The deep azure blue he has always known, but the cornea being the pure orange of his sage mode. He feels dread suddenly what the loss of his marks may mean. Kurama. Can you hear me? This isn't funny, you overgrown plush toy. Shut up you lousy brat, growls out the tailed beast annoyed with his host, and Naruto has never been more content with an insult in his life. Thank goodness you are okay, Naruto sighs with a small smile, knowing there was nothing to be worried about. He turns to the island and decides it's time to figure out the situation he managed to get himself tangled up in. As Naruto was entering the world. Across the globe a phenomenon was occurring for the regional professors and the wildlife of their regions. Hala Town, Kanto. Professor Oak sighed as he once again must deal with the headache that is his grandson, Gary Oak. For once can you not cause such a headache at school with others, being an Oak does not give you a right to look down on others. With a stern look as his grandson tries to be small as possible to end this quicker. Professor Oak is an average-sized man, with gray hair and brown almost black eyes. He is the leading professor on human and Pokemon relationships. It never changes, Gary, how many times have we had this talk, you need to think of your foo. He is abruptly cut off by a bright light coming from the incubator room, thinking the next generation of starters has hatched, but all that changed is the size of the eggs being doubled, but the confusing part is the spiral-like tattoo that spread over the top of the eggs. That is strange, I've never seen an egg do this before. Oak trails of in thought as he goes to pick up the egg but realizes he cannot even budge it at all. Now thoroughly out of breath, he summons his Alakazam to move the eggs for him, but sees the spiral mark glow in the orange color of the egg and seems to cancel out the psychic's hold. How peculiar. Oak mutters confusedly, but beckoning to him, this is not an isolated incident. New Bark Town, Johto. Professor Elm is doing his usual stay up till 4 in the morning, with scattered papers everywhere and his plate left untouched again. Kr. Startled by the loud noise, what was that the professor says, quickly turning to the side and knocking more stacks of papers over. He slowly walks over and turns the corner. Professor Elm is a middle-aged man with short brown hair and gray eyes. He wears a pair of glasses, as well as a white lab coat with 2 pockets and a collared teal shirt. Professor Elm also wears brown pants with a black belt and brown shoes. His specialty breeding patterns and interactions between Pokemon. What greeted the professor was not what he was expecting. Standing there chewing on an old soda can was the biggest Totodile he has ever seen, looking to be about 4 feet tall, doubling the average height, and looking to also weigh about twice as much. He looked over to the other 2 starters and noticed they also looked bigger than average, but noticed something on Chikorita's leaf that protrudes out the top of its head, a dark green spiral-like tattoo. Inspecting the other 2, he notices Cyndaquil has one on his belly when it rolled over and on Totodile the chest. The marks are both in slightly darker colors than shade they were placed on. He stepped closer to the trio and noticed they seemed to notice him before he even announced his presence. Hey gang. He starts feeling a little uneasy with the stares, gulping it down. Where did you get those tattoos from? They were not there yesterday. The Pokemon give him a strange look before looking around their bodies and finally finding the mark, but as they touched it, it made them feel safe and protected. Seeing them calm down considerably after touching it, he decides to return them. Okay guys, let me get you checked out. Elm trails off, seeing the light not work and them still standing there contently. What is going on? Little Root Town, Hone. Ha. Who, a tall fat man with fair skin, dark eyes, short and slightly wavy brown hair, and a squarish face with a beard. He wears a navy blue t-shirt under a white lab coat, khaki shorts with a black belt, and tan sandals on his feet. He is also sometimes seen with a brown bag, which he keeps his research papers in. This man is Professor Birch, and he is known for his goofy, helpful personality, but also his reputation for being on the run from wild Pokemon that he startles while studying. His specialty is Pokemon habitats in correlation with human existences. I never thought I would lose them. He exclaims while falling over in an exhausted heap. As he wipes his forehead of sweat and lugs his way inside, he notices a commotion going on at the back of his lab and is shocked to see the eggs hatching earlier than expected. All 3 eggs hatch simultaneously, and the weird part is they seem confused. As if looking around expecting to see someone or something after hatching. What are those marks? asked a confused Birch, not recognizing the swirling design anywhere. Trico for hatching early is about double the average size and will grow to be a prime example of the species, as long with Torchic and Mudkip. The swirling mark is located on the right side of Trico's tail in light green, on the three-pronged head crest of Torchic in orange, and the left side of Mudkip's head fin in light blue. Thank goodness they look in such good health to hatch 3 weeks early, is nothing to sneeze at, and to be so big, it is almost like they were super developed randomly. The professor struggles to think of a solution, but hears the rumbling stomachs and how scared each look of the surrounding area. Sniff. Oh no, plea. Wow. Hold on, food is coming. The professor scrambles to the lounge, never noticing the swirls light up, and the young Pokemon immediately quiet down and bask in the protective aura before falling into slumber. Okay, I got tons of, huh? The professor humorously falls over after seeing the hatchlings asleep when they were screaming not a second ago. The joys of raising babies. The professor despondently shakes his head with a sigh. Sanjam Town, Sinnoh. A man comes in and takes off a burly-looking coat. Being in the freezing cold of the Sinnoh region, Professor Rowan sits down to enjoy the coffee his assistant had ready for him. Professor Rowan wears a brown coat, tie, and shoes. He has white hair and a white mustache. He has dark brown pants. Under his coat, he wears a blue suit with yellow buttons on it. He carries a brownish-orange suitcase. He is known for his no-nonsense demeanor in comparison to his colleagues. He specializes in Pokemon evolutionary patterns. Crack. Finally, you hatch, the professor says after thinking the eggs could be dead with them being 3 weeks late, as if waiting for something. Not noticing the darker pigment on the Chimchar egg or the swirling mark appearing on all three, he awaits the 3 starters' emergence into the world. First thing he notices the dark red fur of the Chimchar, indicating that he is shiny, very rare. He muses before noticing something odd about the trio before him. They were big, about double the normal size of their species. The weirdest part was not the size or even the surprising shiny among them, no, it was the swirl-like pattern adorning each of them. Chimchar had a dark red swirl on its chest, Piplup had 2 swirls on each of the white circles on its body in an icy blue color, and Turtwig had a big on that covered the whole shell in a leaf green. This was definitely worth the wait for such a unique phenomenon. The professor explains with a rare smile on his face as the Pokemon slowly opened their eyes and began searching the room but looked confused as if they were lost. The Chimchar had ruby redder eyes as well, and the other 2 had the basic black eyes of their species. The trio soon turned scared, and Rowan noticed signs of attacking and quickly tried to capture them, but was shocked to see the light make a swerve around his target and the swirls grow brightly in their respective colors. That light protected them. He wondered if that was truly the case, but seeing the Pokemon calm down and seemingly relax as if the mark was consoling them. The 3 Pokemon smiled before falling to sleep without a care in the world. The professor, seeing a potential crisis on hand, went towards his communicator to consolidate with his happy-go-lucky peers. Vivima Town, Unova. What a day, she exclaims with a slight hum and sip of her moo milk. This is Professor Juniper, the regional professor of the Unova region and a specialist in Pokemon origin and mythology. Professor Juniper is a lithe woman with fair skin, green eyes, and poofy honey-colored hair. She wears a pale greenish-blue lab coat and a white blouse, along with a short green skirt and athletic white shoes with red stripes. She also has red rectangular earrings in both of her ears. She is glad to be finished with the research of the Colossus ruins and the ties it has to the Golurk species. If I have to see one more Cofagrigus, it would be too soon. She finishes with a shiver, remembering the close calls of being imprisoned in the coffin-like bodies. Tepig. Snai. Osh, Osha. Those 3 can never settle down, can they? She muses with a small smile, getting up to see what the problem is. Only to be shocked to see them all have a strange mark on them in different places and them just smiling happy and playing after the weird mark glowed to calm them down. Juniper, never seeing that mark, even in ruins, gets curious about them and calls them over and is shocked to see how calm the 3 young Pokemon are. They usually would cause a ruckus, being boys and all. Eyes, where did you get that symbol from? The marks in question glow when they touch them and seem to give them energy and peace because they look like they could turn to mush and melt away with how content they are. The mark being on Tepig's back in a dark orange, Snivy's chest in dark green, and Oshawtt's shell in a snow white. Oshawott can be seen rubbing his shell on High's face in glee along with other Wo rubbing their back and chest, respectively. Okay, this is strange even for you guys. Getting increasingly worried about the strange behavior and attempts to return them only for the light to curve around them as if the pokeball was not tied to them. The spiral markings glowed again in response to the try and seemed to deny the return of them. How strange. She muses with slight fascination. I better start an investigation, and there is nothing like a good mystery. Lumia City, Kalos. Professor. What? You can't keep sleeping at work like this, you should be home. The man in question gives a hearty laugh. Yes, my apologies, I thought I made a breakthrough. The man in question is Professor Sycamore, a middle-aged man with black curly hair, bluish eyes, and some facial hair under his ears. Sycamore wears a blue shirt, black trousers with a yellow belt, which has the buckle shaped like a circle, and wears orange socks and brown trainers with gray stripes. Sycamore also wears a brown watch on his left arm and often wears with his white lab coat when he is not conducting field research. His specialty is the up-and-coming surge in something referred to as mega evolution, and he hopes to crack the secrets to this marvel one day. Are the starters ready? Sycamore questions with a curious head tilt. Yes, but that shiny Froakie seems very picky, his assistant answers despondently. Sycamore sighs, knowing all too well how this Froakie can get. Suddenly the 3 starters glow, showing weird marks, with them knowing exactly who their trainer would be through the connection. Unknown to all involved in this world was about to change in a drastic way. Diablo's Ocean, Yuzushio. A few hours later. As the rest of the world was going through a strange transition. Naruto was scouting out the island, finding it inhabited, except for a strange orange-like crystal with a strange reading, as if it were alive, but in stasis. A sticker to you if you get the reference, I changed the color though. So, it is just me and Yuzushio. Proclaims Naruto with a small smile. Yuzushio? Kurama projects to Naruto with a raised eyebrow. Yep, figured I'd honor my clan in this world and customize this place to fit our needs first by expanding it and adding multiple biomes. He starts of a little somber, thinking about the family he never met, but realizes it is his chance to start anew. A new biomass will be needed to set the needs of the Pokemon creatures Arceus showed us, and afterwards we will need to make a base. Then find the nearest civilization to research and find what we are fighting against. Punching his hand into his fist with a determined look shining through. Brat, are you forgetting the training you will need to do first to even use the power we have now? You need to convert your attacks over and see if you can't learn from the creatures around us. Ending with a sigh, remembering even though the war tempered Naruto down, he still occasionally jumps into things. Forgot about that, Naruto trails of sheepishly, ignoring the stupid brat comment he hears afterwards. Okay, it's time letting the new power develop, seeing it form a blue cloak around him, with red soon joining it, being the color of Kurama's new body. He starts levitating up and concentrates on the ground and grass-based auras in his body to influence the growth of his island. His eyes suddenly flash, one green and one a sandy brown. Brown style. Emergence. Brass style. Terrace. The ground shakes tremendously as he starts to stretch the land and raise the island up more to make the landmass slightly higher and wider to create several coves around the island. The terrace spell quickly covers most of the new land in lush grass and some fruit-like trees he doesn't recognize. Meanwhile, Pokemon in the labs, still in eggs, and those in the wild who have the mark feel the power and the crests all glow brightly and start calling their names loudly, as if answering the call, or in the egg's case start to hatch. Back with Naruto. Knowing without training his new energy and body the young ninja could only do one more thing in his current state to secure his position. Now to introduce the protection, Naruto mutters with another breath and his eyes flash a brilliant aqua blue. Water style. Maelstrom. And whirlpools start to form around the island, not strong enough to deter water Pokemon, but ships will have plenty of trouble getting near the island. Naruto lands thoroughly exhausted and slumps down on the beach looking at the darkening sky. Really? You named an attack after yourself. The Kyuubi deadpans as his host just goes from surprising maturity to a child in the academy on a dime. Hey. It was harder than it looked, and it is perfect name for the move. Naruto says flippantly, like it was the only solution. Naruto sluggishly climbs to his feet to be shocked to see the mountain made from the emergence have his crest burned into it about halfway up the side. As he goes to comment on it, he feels his chest over his heart burn and with a tug rips of his shirt to see the white Uzumaki logo burn into his skin and pulse once before going dim. Thoroughly confused by what was happening, he suddenly feels a connection to the island and multiple life forms scattered around the globe. They feel out of reach, like that feeling when a word is on the tip of your tongue. Kurama, what is happening? Do you feel that too? The blonde asks, trying to make sense of the situation. Yes, Brad, it seems our call to the outside world starts. So, create a base, get some information, and do what Uzumaki Naruto does best. Be a form of peace to the innocent and the bringer of chaos to your enemies. The beast finishes with a feral sneer in anticipation for the fights ahead of the duo. You know it. Naruto exclaims excitedly, look out world, because ready or not here I come. While again flumping back into the soft sand of the beach and closing his eyes, looking forward to the journey ahead. Not noticing the orange crystal he found earlier in the day pulse and form in Uzumaki crest. Viridian City, Kanto. Underground lab. So, you finally succumbed to do my bidding. The shadow proclaims with a superior look while looking down at the creature beneath him. As he steps into the light, you see he is a middle-aged man that wears a black formal suit with a long white sleeve button shirt with a red tie at the collar. He has short brown hair and wears black dress shoes. The Pokemon in question glares before answering through gritted teeth, yes. Yes, what? You should know how to address me by now. The man said with a sinister grin, loving every second of this exchange. The creature, visibly shaking with rage, grits out, yes master. That is a good little pet, I look forward to our partnership mutuo. Chapter 3. Learning, Leveling and Developing. Time skip, 6 months later. Diablo's Ocean, Yuzushio. After half a year, Naruto learned quite a bit about his surroundings and his powers in general, but what really helped was the 3 little guys currently sleeping after a long day's training. Flashback starts, 1 month into training. Mount Coronet. The howling winds and biting cold make up the treacherous mountain known as Mount Coronet. As Naruto slowly makes his way up to the summit to train and force his body to adapt to a rough environment, he senses a life form that resonates with his mark, and the closer he got the brighter it was getting, like a weird game of hot or cold. The 18-year-old ninja has not changed in appearance, but has updated his attire. Now wearing a black jacket over his right sage coat and reinforcing his Anbu pants with heavy-duty combat boots. His ninja pouch and shuriken are kept in place with tethering seals, in case he falls they will not get lost in the snow. Insulating and coating the whole outfit with reinforcement seals, that power of his aura, he has not figured out how to make the seals work independently from his aura yet, but direct contact with him seems to be fine at the moment. No wonder there isn't any people up here. I guess being a superpowered human has its benefits. Naruto exhales, seeing his breath as if to cement his point. The mark starts to glow extremely dark as he approaches a cave to see something he was not expecting. He saw 4 Pokemon, 3 fighting and 1 injured. The 3 fighting were Sneasel, recalling the knowledge he received from Arceus. It is a bipedal Pokemon that resembles both a cat and a weasel. It is primarily bluish-black with 3 bright red feathers for its tail and a lone feather on its left ear. The ear feather is shorter on the female than on the male. The other ear is short and pointed, and it has narrow red eyes. On its forehead and chest are yellow oval markings. It has red eyes with black eyelash-like markings on the edges. It has long limbs with 2 large retractable claws on its hands and feet. Naruto also realized that his aura and psychic abilities allow him to understand poke speech. So, he snuck in to listen to the battle and see if cannot solve this peacefully. The Sneasel in question was trying to defend the hurt one from the other 2. Leave her alone, she does not deserve such treatment. The lone Sneasel states with a sneer and determined stare to protect someone he does not even know. The other 2 snicker knowing he is weaker and smaller than them. Listen runt, she stole our food after using a track to keep us preoccupied, she deserves worse. The lone Sneasel turns to check on the female Sneasel to see her gone, leaving him to fight and not even a thank you. See now boy, should have let us finish. As they both charge up a metallic sheen-like attack on their claws. As the attacks go to make contact on the injured Sneasel. Ting. Ting. The Sneasel, who braced for the rough attack, quickly looks up to see a tall man block the attack with a staff-like object that glowed a bluish color. The 3 Pokemon could not believe a human was so high up on the mountain, having not seen one for a long time. The Sneasel quickly disengage and, sensing the power that made them uneasy, decided to run, better than being captured. As Naruto turns to address the Sneasel, he sees a familiar white mark adoring the red feather next to its ear. The marks both pulse once, as if resonating with each other, and Naruto feels a connection forming. The Sneasel looks up at the man in wonder and can feel the comforting aura he produces. The young Pokemon, fueled by his instincts, walks up the man and crawls up his body till he rests his head on his shoulder and slowly falls asleep with a content smile. Well little guy, welcome to the team. Naruto scratches his head, earning a little purr, getting a chuckle out of the ninja. Flashback end. Looking over at the other 2, Naruto could not help but frown, getting a small understanding after the encounter of what he is up against. Flashback starts, 2 months into training. After a month of training on the mountain with Sneasel, not capturing it because he does not own any Pokeballs, he starts to head back west along Route 205 towards the ocean, prepared to water walk back home. As he arrives in the Eterna forest, he notices the Pokemon feel scared using the emotion sensing of Kurama, but he is not sure if it is of him or something else. Naruto again feels a familiar burn, but looks around confused for where the Pokemon is when he senses something burrowing towards him from below. Quickly jumping and sticking to the underside of a branch with one hand on his staff, but quickly relaxes seeing a very tired and beat up Gible pop up from the ground. Gible is a small bipedal dragon-like Pokemon that is primarily blue. It has a big mouth filled with sharp teeth, no neck, and arms that start at the outer edges of its jaws. A red underbelly stretches from its abdomen to the bottom of its jaw. Gible has 2 horns that resemble jet or plane engines, each with a light blue stripe in the middle. It has a single light blue stripe wrapping around its back. On top of its head is a dorsal fin, which has a notch on it for the male. The Geibel in question has a familiar mark but in a dark blue on the right side of the dorsal fin. The Geibel in question seems panicked, looking around for something before looking up and seemingly got extremely happy, as if everything was going to be okay. As Naruto drops to the ground, he hears the Geibel fire off millions of things in a second. Riolu, poachers, please help, others escaped. The Pokemon, still seeing the man listening and waiting for him to calm down, takes a big breath before trying again. Please save my friend, Riolu. He sacrificed his chance to escape to free the others in captivity, and the poachers plan to sell him to the highest bidder in an underground auction. The young dragon pleads with small tears forming when he hears the human walking, thinking he is going to ignore his plea. Geibel relaxes when Naruto with Sneasel on his shoulder leans down and gently rubs his fin, right over the mark. Like with Sneasel, he feels a connection from the Geibel in question and already knows his answer, lead the way. The Geibel, thrilled by the news, takes off through ground, leaving the fin up, not knowing that Naruto can follow him regardless with a new formed bond. Sneasel, Naruto quickly addresses, getting his companion's attention. When the battle begins, I want you to work on freeing the Riolu with Geibel. I can take on the poachers. Seeing Sneasel about to protest, cuts in quickly. You are too young and inexperienced for this yet, but after some training, I'll let you help all you want, deal. Extending a fist for the creature to bump, and Sneasel, with a new fire to get stronger, accepts with a determined nod and meeting Naruto's knuckles. Good, get ready, Geibel is slowing down, so we must be close. As the trio arrived, Naruto was amazed that they were operating in the middle of the forest and had not been detected by someone yet, but noticed a weird machine that was guarded by a pack of Houndoom. Houndoom is a quadrupedal canine Pokemon that is mainly colored black with a long orange snout and an orange underbelly. It has small, red eyes and a black nose. Around its neck is a white band with a small skull-shaped pendant on its throat. There are 2 white bands on each of its ankles, as well as 3 rib-like ridges on its back. Houndoom has a long, skinny tail with a triangular tip and 3 clawed toes on each paw. On top of its head is a pair of long, curved gray horns. These horns are smaller on the female than the male. That must be the power for the cages, but notices that they all seem broken. So Geibel was right, this Riolu must be something to cause so much damage. While checking the area, seeing the broken cages from the earlier escape, he gives the small creatures their task. Here is the plan, I am going to take out the poachers and disable the power, you and Geibel will wait for an opening. Once that is done, go free Riolu and meet back here. If this area is compromised, we will meet on the beach to the west of this location. Seeing the determined head nods from the small Pokemon, Naruto starts the operation. As Naruto is getting into position to start raising havoc for the poachers. One poacher in particular has been on the most wanted list for a long time. He is known as Onyx. The man in question is 6'5", with a bulging muscle mass. He has ebony black hair, black eyes covered by a pair of shades, and a face tattoo on the side of his left temple that reads the number 61. The man's bicep is a style tattoo, saying underground. His outfit consists of a black trench coat over a blood-red shirt. The inside of the coat has an assortment of knives and other weapons. He finishes it up with a pair of combat boots, with 2 knife slots, 1 for each boot. The infamous poaching circle, referred to as the UGD poachers, are infamous for stealing and selling Pokemon. Some say they are more dangerous than Hunter J, for the fact that they will target anything and not just contracts and more desired Pokemon. The worst part about UGD is if they cannot sell a Pokemon in a week's time, then that Pokemon tends to disappear. The giant man walks out of the tent put up in the back for the temporary operation. He sees the destruction the little bastard he has locked up caused and growls, the transport better arrive, the auction will start soon. He walks back into the tent to see the little pain in the neck glaring at him hatefully. Usually the cages are kept pitch black, but for this one's case, it'd be too hard to see it. This Riolu is a very special case that happens maybe 1 in a couple million hatchings. The syndrome is referred to as reverseism 1, where instead of being shiny the natural colors of the Pokemon have been flipped. Riolu are usually predominantly blue. Riolu is a small blue canine Pokemon. It has a black torso and legs, a blue tail, and a yellow collar. It has rounded bumps on the backs of its forepaws. It has a black mask and red eyes. It stands on its toes instead of its entire foot. It is sensitive to a special type of energy called aura. However, it does not have the ability to fully use these powers, although it can still emanate these waves to communicate and sense them, albeit only in ripples. It has developed 2 black appendages that hang down from its head, which rise when Riolu reads or manipulates aura, a special energy that it senses. Like almost all fighting-type Pokemon, Riolu naturally has superhuman strength, stamina, and endurance, and can make long journeys on foot in a short amount of time. It is a playful, energetic, and loyal Pokemon. But this one is predominantly black, with a dark blue face mask, ears, legs, and upper chest. The ring around its neck is white and the usually white stones are yellow. The only thing that did not change are the eyes, being the intimidating red that the species is known for. The last feature is in the yellow stones on its arm is a red whirlpool-like design. You sure are freaky, aren't ya? Getting an even more heated reply and the eyes to glow red and an aura sphere that hits the cage wall and is absorbed by the cage. The cage is attached to an energy converter that takes any attacks used to escape and fuels the cage. I still don't know why I can't capture you in a ball, but the scientists at the auction will surely figure it. Giving a last menacing look before leaving. After seeing the man leave, the Riolu looks down at his hands, feeling the anger fade to despair. The only thing that keeps him going is knowing that he saved a few dozen Pokémon from the same fate before being detained here. As Riolu is distracted by his thoughts, a shark head pops up in the room, followed closely by the cat-like Pokémon. Riolu? Riolu? Are you okay? The usual energetic shark asks with worry. Geibel. Why are you back? I told you to run. Riolu exclaims with frustration. I brought help, the Geibel states with a proud hero pose. Help? Who could pause? The Geibel gives a fanged grin and Sneasel just mischievously chuckles. The two Pokémon realize that is the signal and hear the power in the room dim out with a soft humming noise. The Riolu, realizing his chance, charges energy to his palm and quickly places it flat on the cage. Meanwhile, Sneasel's claws glow metallic and cut a small outline in the cage around the exterior. Metal claw. Force palm. The cage wall is violently pushed on the one side, sending it careening into the hull. Thus, allowing the Riolu out and in a rush to escape, they take the tunnel created by Geibel to get back to the rendezvous point assigned by their leader. What the three Pokémon saw when exiting was not what they were expecting. While Geibel and Sneasel were freeing Riolu. Naruto, there are 10 humans in the clearing, each with one Pokémon. The leader, I presume, is coming out of the tent where the objective is, states Kurama with his eyes closed, knowing Naruto will not need his help after this. Got it, thanks furball. Naruto thinks back and smirks, hearing the growl in return. Creating a small aura face mask up to his nose and changing his hair to a pure blue. Naruto begins to quickly tree hopping through the thick forest while not making a sound. Years of being a ninja were coming in handy for this. The only moves to this point he learned were from Sneasel, were ice and steel oriented, and some basic ground, water, and grass based attacks. So, with a quick molding of ice based energy, he develops a small ice shard in his hand. Ice style. Ice shard. Naruto whispers as his pupils flash an icy blue, and the shard divides into 5 points while traveling and converge on the generator, creating an explosion that slightly injured the Pokémon guarding it. With the loud sound, Naruto jumps down and applies ground-based energy to his feet, knowing the one weakness of fire types is ground-based moves. Ground style. Earthquake. This destroys the generator fully and applies massive damage to the 5 fire canines still disoriented from the initial explosion, causing 3 to fall unconscious and the others to be on their last legs. With a quick application of aura to his legs and arms to increase speed and power, he rapidly approaches the Houndoom and with 2 quick chops to the neck also sends them to the land of dreams. The grunt, seeing this man standing on the used-to-be generator, quickly released the last 5 Pokémon, all being Houndoom as well. Okay, 5 more canines and 10 lowlifes to go. Knowing that the Pokémon may not be fully evil but overly loyal to their trainers. Hey punk, a slightly more obese grunt calls out. You gonna call out your Pokémon or what? Naruto laughs, saying, I don't have any, nor will I need them for the likes of you. Wanting to see how they would react to the claim. As predicted, so you think you're hot shit. Houndoom sick him with crunch. Ending the statement with a vindictive sneer and a hidden gleam of excitement for the idea of seeing this man ripped apart. The pack of canines take off with the eyes of the predator chasing a prey, but they seem to have their role in the equation backwards. Naruto, seeing them charge in a straight line, no obvious training, charges his hands with ground energy and his pupils turn a sandy brown. The first dog lunges for the neck. Naruto sidesteps and punches its ribs, hearing a few bones break with a quick duck and reaches up, grabbing the tail and slamming it on top of the next dog, leaving a moderately sized crater. The grunt, shocked but smart enough to see close range, was suicide call for a flamethrower and the 2 dogs quickly bathe Naruto in a sea of flames. The grunts give of laughs of glee. He must have got lucky with the first 3, but like everyone else who crosses us, they get burned for it. Ending his statement with a terrible pun and a chorus of maniacal laughter. I've had hotter. The simple statement cuts through the clearing as if it were shouted into a loudspeaker. From the roaring flames, 2 aura spheres fly out at speeds nobody could react to, and the grunts turn to see the Houndoom slamming into the surrounding trees, slumping down in a great deal of pain. The flames suddenly are extinguished and they noticed a water-like coating surrounding the stranger. Water style. Aqua Veil, Naruto thought with a small smile, glad to have thought of this for any underwater exploration to make air pockets, or is just used, a form of protection against fire and heat-based attacks. So, is that everything or is there more? Naruto questioned with a raised eyebrow and crossed arms. When the grunts just stand there stunted and unmoving, he sighs. I guess so. And used a technique he read that reminded him of his mother, and he slightly changed it to fit his needs. Steel style. Shackle shot, think of anchor shot, but instead of anchors they are dungeon shackles that can vary in size according to the power put into it. Suddenly 10 chain-like protrusions coming from his body and quickly close in on the now panicking poachers. One shackle from each chain attached to the goons, and no matter how much they struggled or beat on it, the chain was not budging. Naruto with a mental command rose them all up slowly and harshly slammed them down, causing the ground under them to slightly cave, with spittle and blood flying from their mouths, showing the potential inner damage. If that was all you guys had to offer, then this job is going to be easy. Time to wrap this up and turn them in. Naruto says confidently. I wouldn't bet on it, you little bastard. The only way you're leaving here is in a body bag. Naruto looks over to see the ursering of a man and does not know who he is, but can tell this will be a lot tougher. So, you're the leader of these low-lives. Not too surprising. Naruto states while noticing the 3 pokeballs attached to his belt and the slight bulge of the overcoat. Laugh now, boy, but nobody challenges the underground without becoming buried in it. The hulking figure grabs his 3 pokeballs and releases them. What comes out are 3 Pokémon that look like they enjoy inflicting pain and suffering as much as their master. The first is a bipedal, weasel-like Pokémon with a pale gray body. It has a bright red crown and collar made of wide feathers and a single thinner feather on each ear. It has 2 tail feathers and 3 claws on each paw. There is a yellow oval marking in the center of its forehead. Its eyes are red with 3 eyelashes, and 4 fangs protrude from its upper jaw. This is a weevil. The second is a dark blue avian Pokémon with plumage resembling a person dressed in formal attire, one that most resembles a mob boss. It has a large feather crest resembling a fedora-like hat that has spikes extending from the back. It has circular red eyes with white sclerae and dark blue eyelids. Its yellow beak is slightly curved and its head is supported by a broad, short neck. It also has a wide and prominent crest of feathers on its chest that bears resemblance to a beard or cravat. Its wings have red feathers on the inside and its black feet have 4 toes, 3 in the front, 1 in the back, with sharp talons. The tail's base is a white cylindrical stalk on which there is a growth of red feathers on the end. This is a haunch crow. The last is a bipedal ursine Pokémon. Its broad body is covered in brown fur except its muzzle, inner ears, and paw pads, which are light tan. It has narrow eyes, a triangular, black nose, and a wide mouth with small, visible fangs in the upper jaw. The fur on the shoulders is longer and more structured, with rectangular extensions that resemble epaulets. There is a large tan, ring-shaped mark on its chest. The forelimbs are long, ending in 5 claws each, while its hind legs are short and thick, ending in 3 claws each. Its tail is large and spherical in shape. This is a ursaring. Naruto quickly assessed the situation and determines that the biggest threat is the haunch crow with the aerial advantage. The man makes quick demands for his Pokémon. Haunch crow, Dark Pulse. Weevil, Ice Beam. Ursaring, Focus Blast. Naruto quickly jumps up into the trees to dodge and begins to use the environment to his advantage as he is pursued closely by the haunch crow from the air. The weevil leaped into the tree to follow and the ursaring stayed to the ground. Onyx realizes that the man is leading them further into the forest and that his Pokémon are being divided. This damn brat is leading the fight even when it is 3-on-1. Suddenly he hears his haunch crow cry out as it plummets to the ground and sees the right wing is bent at an odd angle with a knife stuck in it and he has slash marks on his body. The man, feeling nothing for the creature beneath it, steps on its neck, wrenches the knife free and slowly follows sounds of battle. Naruto having defeat the bird Pokémon, but right now he has no time to dwell as he is rapidly dodging the weevil's ferocious metallic swipes as they continue to rapidly maneuver from tree to tree. The creature seemed to be getting more bloodthirsty as the chase went and was getting sloppy. Naruto, noticing this, capitalized by dodging a double puncture-like attack right in front of a tree, causing the weasel to get stuck in the thick trunk. Quickly grabbing the back of its head, Naruto slammed it into the tree with an aura-infused thrust, resulting in the weevil's head being slammed into the tree and knocking it unconscious and profusely bleeding from the bark, digging into its skin. Onyx, feeling some blood land on his face from above, looks up to see the weevil and, taking the knife in his hand, throws it into the heart of the creature to make sure of the failure's demise. After all, he starts trailing off with a demented grin. People and Pokémon who fail the underground end up becoming buried in it. The hulking man resumed his walk down the path and towards the fight, not even bothered by the blood on his face. Naruto and Ursaring are having an intense standoff. The bear-like creature has several bumps and bruises along with shallow cuts, but Naruto is in perfect condition. The war veteran grew up in trees, he knows how you use them to peak efficiency in combat. To blend in, change elevation, setting traps and so on. Ursaring starts charging with his arms growing a bright weight, borderline red in the form of a hammer arm attack. Naruto seeing this quickly moves forward inside the bear's guard, surprising the creature and delivering a haymaker that raises it a few feet of the ground. He then does a quick spin and right before Ursaring lands, drills it with an aura-infused kick. The beast rockets toward a tree and coughs blood with shocked eyes as it slumps down the tree and meets the unforgiving ground. Now to get back to he is cut off by snagging a knife inches before puncturing his throat. Seeing the dark black color of the blade, looks to the side to see the huge leader of the group he dismantled. So, the leader arrives, had to collect your pawns, nah. Naruto says with a cheeky smile while casually crushing the knife in hands like it was made of paper and tossing it over his shoulder. Onyx chuckles darkly, not fazed in the least by the display. Collect. Failure is only met with one response. Naruto knowing what this means grimaces, recalling the war and how second chances never happen. I see. The name's Onyx boy, I want to know the name of the dead man in front of me. Finished the man with a crazed smile and pulling two short swords from inside his trench coat. The name is Justice. Naruto suddenly says, knowing not to state his name out loud, even if there is no record of him existing. One day there will be, and he does not need the attention. He is not that lonely 12-year-old anymore. The man laughs loudly while ripping a small device off and crushing it, smart. Giving your real name would have been suicide for you or your family. Naruto realizing that must have been a communicator device. Knows that this man is not the head of the snake, but quite possibly the tail. Well, now that pleasantries are over the demented man trails off and charges with a maddening look in his eyes, craving to carve the man before him. Naruto quickly backpedals while ducking and weaving through the fast and accurate strikes. He notices a tree behind him quickly jumps up, pivots off the trunk, and leaps while landing on a branch. He realizes that the tree was the one with the Pokemon he defeated under it to see the Pokemon's head roll from its body. You saved me time, brat. I was going to dispense that trash after you anyway. States Onyx with blood soaking his coat. Naruto now seeing the monster before him in a new light. Wondering how many people and Pokemon he snuffed out for no reason. How many, Naruto mutters with visibly rising anger. What you say? How many lives have you ended senselessly? Naruto explodes and his aura rapidly grow around him in response to the flaring emotions. Onyx just laughs uncontrollably before ripping the sleeves off his shirt to show hundreds of tally marks on each arm made from self-scaring. Does this answer your question, boy? I have sent hundreds to have a permanent relationship with being underground. I have 3 more to add and then whatever is still alive when I get back to base after killing you. The man smiles wide and continues to laugh like he heard the funniest thing in his life. Naruto seeing this man is beyond redeemable becomes serious and knows that the only justice for this man is to also become food for the soil. Naruto's pupils flash blue. Water style. Mist, he changed mist to work like the hidden mist technique. The sudden heavy cover of mist makes the man squint before he tries to find Naruto with sound. Onyx quickly throws a knife to a bush to hear no meaty contact and frowns while grabbing another one. So how does it feel to be helpless? Naruto suddenly speaks, voice sounding from all directions. Come out, you coward. The frustrated criminal roars, only to take a knee from a knife buried in his thigh. The hunter becomes the prey, but the sad part is said hunter was always the prey from the beginning. Naruto says mockingly. The man roughly pulls the knife out and gets ready, only for 4 chains to wrap his limbs and pull them taut. The man grunts feeling the chains dig into his skin and see the mist disappear as the man with the chains connected to his heads walk closer. Any last words? Naruto solemnly states, hating this part the most. The man stays quiet and right before Naruto finishes him off with a kunai to the heart. He mutters a phrase. All those who challenge the underground become buried in it and the knife plunges forward. Back with Gaibel, Riolu, and Sneasel. Destruction was everywhere, the generator was completely crushed and the men and women grunts were still out cold as long with the Pokemon, though a few Houndoom looked like they were not breathing. So, the man you are with did this, without any help? Riolu questions in slight disbelief. Yep. Gaibel chirps putting emphasis on the P as if it were expected, even though he knew nothing about the stranger. I'm not too surprised, the Marquis Share only showed a slight change in his emotions, not any in pain, but a great amount of anger. Sneasel adds in causing the other two to look confused. Mark. Both Pokemon question before looking at each other and noticing the swirling pattern and the connection they all share. Later. Sneasel interrupts hearing a siren. The generator explosion must have been reported. We must meet up with. No need. Naruto cuts in with a man on his back and a stern expression. Let's bound the poachers and return the Pokemon, this is the authorities' part in the job. Even if they aren't aware, we are working together. Naruto ends with a chuckle. Naruto quickly grabs the 10 grunts and arranges them in a back-facing circle and has Sneasel use Ice Beam to form a constraint and leave the pile of Pokeballs on the table. He took the deceased and buried them and wished them well in the travel to the next life. After that he grabs the 3 Pokemon and with an aura-infused body, which puts Riolu in a trance by the power he feels, he quickly darts out of the forest and towards his home. 30 minutes later, the police. A young woman in her late 20s arrives on her police bike along with many others that look like her, except with different hairstyles and color. The women predominantly have dark green, teal, or dark blue hair and fair skin. They have brown eyes and usually have a canine Pokemon for a partner. The uniform consists of a blue police hat with a broad black brim, a blue vest over a white collared shirt. They wear a short gray skirt with pantyhose underneath and have a belt with a slot for their baton, taser, and pokeballs. They finish the outfit up with white glove and black running shoes. This is Officer Jenny. Officer Jenny looks around and sees 10 people frozen in a circle, a pile of pokeballs, broken cages, and a destroyed generator that must have been the explosion reported to the station. She first thought this may have been a Pokemon poacher's retaliation from the creatures they captured, but saw a figure that made her eyes widen considerably. The wanted criminal Onyx she trails of in disbelief. The man they have been hunting as long with the organization he is a part of for 5 long years. She lost many sisters to the psycho. She snaps out of her stupor and quickly take charge. Jennies quickly round up the grunts and Onyx, this is a bigger operation than we realize. As the Jennies approach the goons, a huge shadow arrived overhead before suddenly 10 needle-like objects stick into the top of their heads, causing them all to go stiff before slumping over, as if they were a puppet with the strings cut. The Jennies gasp before looking up to see a man riding a huge quadrupedal draconic Pokemon with a long tapering tail. It is primarily blue with a gray lower jaw and thickly scaled underside. There are red markings on its throat, the underside of its tail, and stripes on the inner surface of its legs. Additionally, there are raised red ridges above its eyes. 3 flat fins protrude from either side of its head and 2 pairs of pointed teeth, 1 pair in the upper jaw and 1 in the lower. Each of its short legs has 3 claws. This Pokemon is Salamence. The man in question is called Cobalt. He is a man at 6'1" with short cobalt-colored hair. He has a tattoo of a 3 on his left temple and dark blue eyes. He also has a scar that travels from the right side of his nose, over his lip, and ends at the bottom of his chin. He does not have a bulging muscle mass like Onyx, but you can see he is defined and they are muscles to be used in a fight, not from just going to a gym every day. On his left arm is a familiar tattoo to the recently deceased man. On his left arm spells undergrin a familiar blood red ink, the rest covered by his shirt. He wears a dark blue dress shirt with the sleeves rolled up to the elbow and the top 2 buttons undone. His pants are black dress pants with dark blue dress shoes to match his shirt. He emotionally looks at the bystanders before saying one thing that causes them to take cover in the tree line, in case it is directed at them. Incinerate. The dragon quickly develops a miniature sun in its mouth and lets it go over the whole operation, and a bright light accompanied by a roaring flame comes as quickly as it went. The clearing looked barren as if nothing was ever there in the first place, and when the head Jenny looked up, Cobalt was gone. No one ever noticed the multiple flying types that recorded the encounter and to what ends the results will bring. Flashback end. Diablo's Ocean, Yuzushio. After that he decided to research mostly, learn all he can about moves, types, how they are used by Pokemon, and in turn learn them himself. He fully converted seals in the 4 months he was on the island along with finally making a base for him and his Pokemon to rest and recuperate. He also took time to study the environments and plants of the world and made an island nearby that was half the size of Yuzu he called Konoha in memory of his home. The island is just for growing trees and plains for habitats. The main elements he focused on were ones for capture and attack, so a lot of electric, grass, psychic and rock-based moves for stunning and entrapping. He also learned a few fire and steel-based moves for attacking power. He feels the power growing quickly inside him and cannot wait to get out there. He set his Pokemon up on a schedule after they heard his thoughts and conversation with Kurama. Flashback starts, 4 months into training. "Brat, get in here." Kurama suddenly speaks. Naruto shocked because the Kyuubi was silent for 2 whole months. "What's up, Kurama?" Naruto says with his arms behind his head, only to drop his jaw when he sees the swirl-like mark on the Kyuubi's chest. "Kurama, you have the Uzumaki swirl. Why?" The tailed beast gives a growl before answering. "You don't feel the connection we have with the islands you made or the 3 creatures with you? I believe the mark is a way to connect you to the world, it is like the Horatian markers you, your father, and the second Hokage utilized, but with extra perks." Naruto, remembering the grueling training and extensive seal theory, slightly shivers. "Don't remind me of that torture." Still Naruto slowly closes his eyes and his mark on his chest glows as long with Kurama's, the islands, and the 3 Pokemon outside. Suddenly his mindscape rubbles before changing to match the islands of the outside world, but above them, he sees the 18 symbols used to represent the energies of the world before they too glow. Naruto suddenly feels empowered like never before. He gains an instinctual understanding of the energies as long with Kurama. Naruto. That was the world accepting you, it acknowledges you as Arceus's champion. The Kyuubi states also feeling the same effects his host went through. That felt amazing, but what else can the mark do? Naruto asks inquisitively. From my understanding it can be used to transfer energy from you to anything with the mark, teleport like on our world, mental communication, and open gateways for whoever you want to be summoned to you, instead of always going to them. There could be more, but that's all I could assess for now. The Kyuubi states with an assured head nod. That is incredible, is that what you were doing all this time? With a small smile across his face. Kyuubi puffs his chest. Of course, the great Kurama-sama never wastes time. Naruto causes that chest to deflate like a balloon. Except when you sleep for months at a time. Yes, except when I sleep, the Kyuubi trails off before grumbling. You unappreciative brat. Naruto laughs uproariously and when he calms down, he gives a small smile. Thanks Kurama, for everything. Kurama turns away to hide his embarrassment but has a smile on his face. Sure brat, anytime. Naruto still smiles before fading out. Flashback end. The schedule was Monday through Friday with psychical training. 6 am 8 am. Stretches and 10 laps around Yuzushio. 8:15 am 10 am. Upper body conditioning, push-ups, pull-ups, punching, etc. 10:15 am 12 pm. Lower body conditioning, squats, lunges, kicks, etc. 12 pm 12:30 pm. Lunch. 1 pm 6 pm. Individual training and basic aura manipulation. Uses normal style. Double team, his version is the shadow clone jutsu. 6:15 pm 8 pm. Move and energy theory. Used to make new attacks or combo attacks. 9 pm lights out for the Pokemon, remember they are young. They need sleep to grow properly. 10 pm 12 am. Naruto uses double team to advance his understanding of the energies and develop new moves. 12:15 am 1 am. Ceiling theory and practice. 1:15 am 2 am. Discuss plans and training with Kurama. 2 am. Naruto sleeps, with all the energy Naruto has, especially with Kurama, he only requires a couple hours each night to recharge. Saturday was the day he would go to Sinnoh mainland to scout for Pokemon with his symbol, research at the library, or listen for criminal organization activity, like Underground or this Team Galactic he has heard rumors about. They have all been surprisingly quiet. After the Uzumaki spiral fully awakened the energies from the Pokemon with his mark give off such a big radius that they could be anywhere in a city, his mark would have to guide him like with Sneasel and Gible. Sunday was a day to relax. Let the Pokemon play on the island, bond with them over some mindless TV, just play and get to know them. The Pokemon in question were simple to understand. Gible was the playful one, Sneasel the mischievous one, and Riolu the always serious one. Riolu always wants to train with him, the Reverseism Pokemon was fascinated with his aura and proclaimed that he was going to be his aura partner when he announced his status as an aura guardian to the world. Naruto chuckles remembering the proud Pokemon's words and cannot help but remembering a certain orange-wearing ninja proclaiming his dream as if it was an assured thing. Hopefully, you can live your dream out. Naruto after months of training is ready to raise the other islands and integrate them into the world. Naruto takes a deep breath before he lets out a tremendous amount of aura energy, with Kurama backing him, he with a small application of flying type energy, starts to float up getting 100 miles above Yuzushio, seeing the marks on the islands glowing with him. Suddenly on the ocean floor 9 Uzumaki insignias from in the ocean, one that was around Konoha, form in 2 ring formations around Yuzushio. The outer ring is in a pentagon pattern and the inner is in a box formation. With one last grunt of effort, Naruto raises his hand and shouts a familiar move. Brown style. Emergence. The world rumbles for a bit as if weighing the pros and cons of this before conceding, and the 8 islands raise up from the swirls. The 5 outer islands at 50,000 square meters and the 4 inner ones at 25,000 square meters. Showing the giant Yuzushio to be double the outer ring at roughly 100,000 square meters. The Uzumaki swirls suddenly all glow before becoming one giant insignia that spans from Yuzushio to encompass all the islands. Naruto taking huge gulps of air, feels the soothing feeling of Kurama rapidly filling his aura reserves, decides to customize the blank slates before him. His pupils flash a dark green before shouting, and with his new knowledge on the produce of the world, picks each inner island to have specific fruits used in different things. The islands being supercharged with grass-type energy, have a very advanced growth rate. The first island is named Ailment. This island grows cherry, chesto, pecha, rost, and aspear berries, which all cure ailments. These 5 helps with curing paralysis, sleep, poison, burns, and freeze in that order. The world of status type moves can be very dangerous over time, especially poison, burns, and frostbite. The second island is Nourish. This island grows food that have no effect other than nourishment. Berries like spelin, pamter, watmal, durin, bellu, namal, rebuta, magist, and corn. The third island is called Menagerie. It holds a wide range of flavored berries. Mago, which are sweet. Agwav, which are bitter. Iapapa, which are sour. Wiki, which are dry. Finally, Fiji, which are spicy. A nice variety as you will. The last inner island is called Vigor. This holds berries that increase the healing rate of Pokemon. This has Oran, Citrus, Lum, which is a status all used for healing, Enigma, and Michael. The 5 outer islands Naruto made be livable habitats for rescued Pokemon to be sheltered from the rest of the world until they can integrate back in or opt to live in peace on the islands. The first is Konoha, and like he mentioned before, is flush with forests, jungles, and open plains, with some naturally occurring growth. The thick forest during the sunset looks like it is on fire from above, so he named it Engem, meaning a blaze made for Pokemon who thrive in the open air and foliage-like environments. The second is Suna. This island, like the giant dust bowl it was back home, is an extensive desert with scattered oases. There is one huge oasis in the middle he labeled K's. Made specifically for Pokemon who thrive in the environment of high winds, extreme heat and harsh cold when night falls. The third is Kumo. This island is the tallest out of the 5 in the outer ring and is slightly smaller than Uzushio's singular peak. The land has an extensive mountain range that splits the island in half diagonally. The mountain range, which Naruto dubs the Divide and names the highest peak Rai in honor of the main element of the Lightning Village. Has many caves that connect the 2 split sides together with many high and low valleys for Pokemon who thrive in different altitudes or lack of sunlight. The fourth is Kiri. This island is the one lowest to sea level. It has many marshes, lakes, and a creeping mist that seems to never fully dissipate. It also has 3 rivers that trisect the island into different sections, which he named the Mizu Trifecta, and the turbulence of the water is reflected by Naruto's mood. This island is ideal for Pokemon who thrive in the shadows and lurk beneath the surface. The fifth and final island is Iwa. The island has rocky hills and small plateaus across it. It also has canyons that extend below sea level and have small rivers that slowly move in the bottom, almost at a standstill. In the middle of the island is a 2,500 square meter plateau Naruto labeled Tsuchi. The rocky terrain is perfect for Pokemon who burrow and make nests on flat surfaces. The center island, Uzushio, is double the size of the outer 5 and has all 5 environments mashed together. He named the area of the World Sanctuary Archipelago. Okay. Naruto claps his hands and wipes the slight sweat from his forehead. It's time to connect them all. Rock style. Upheaval. The ground in multiple places between the islands suddenly rose very jagged and weak rock and obsidian. That won't do and his pupils turn a bright pink. Psychic style. Formation. The rocks all suddenly rise into the air before being formed into arched bridges pinned between light screen-like projections to hold them in place like a mold and connect the islands from multiple angles while making sure they are arched enough for water Pokemon to travel under them. Naruto, still seeing the rough design, improvises. His left pupil flashes a flaming orange and his right pupil a solid blue. Fire style. Overheat. Which bakes the jagged edges down to a flat surface for crossing. Water style. Hydro pump. This quickly cools the molten surface, making a shiny black bridge that suddenly glows a wide outline, signaling its integration into the Uzumaki crest beneath the island. The master seal under Uzushio flashes brightly before kanji rise across the islands and snake their way to the bridges. Naruto notices words like reinforcement, repair, absorption, detection, and so on. So, the insignia can identify new additions. Naruto notes while descending to the ground. Seeing each island perfectly represent his image. Naruto smiles before heading to his home, seeing the 15-foot-tall red gate with a white Uzumaki crest in the middle. Taking a kunai and cutting his palm, he places it on the swirl, which quickly becomes red, and a click is heard once it fully matched the gate's color and slowly swing inwards. The Uzumaki compound covers roughly 10,000 square miles. Which is a tenth the size of the island. The house is 3 stories tall and covers roughly 500 square miles. It is so big for a couple reasons. 1. He does not know how many Pokemon or the size they may have. The creatures may have come to the house, and the doorways are all double doors to each room, with the dimensions being 30 feet tall and 15 feet wide for the training, cafeteria, and simulation chamber. Every door has a carved Uzumaki insignia engraved with runes to adjust the door, depending on the person approaching. The other reason for so much room is he hopes that he can have a big family one day. The house itself is one of the most beautiful man-made structures in the world. Unknown to our hero, the building is white with red accents around the doors and windows, the roof is black with a white Uzumaki crest that covers the entire rooftop and acts as a landing zone. There is one entrance to the roof, which is a double door that leads into the mansion. The building has 60 rooms total. 40 bedrooms, 10 bathrooms, 4 kitchens, 2 extensive storage rooms, one for food and the other for his server room. A huge cafeteria-like room for Pokémon of all sizes to eat, a dining room for regular-size people and smaller Pokémon, an infirmary with a nursery for eggs, babies, and baby Pokémon, and finally the control center. The main rooms in the upstairs portion of the house are the server room and the control center. The house runs off electric charged ceiling tags. The server room is a complex ceiling matrix that retrieves data recorded by the hacker tags he created. The hacker tag operates like a virus, but the only purpose is to record information that comes and goes from the technology they are placed on. The control room is a room with an oval-shaped table surrounded by multiple chairs. This will be where Naruto plans operations involving mid to high-level crime, believing the authorities could handle small theft and such. The screen is 200 inches wide by 120 inches tall, with only parts of Sinnoh filling in a map. He plans to infiltrate the Sinnoh police station and research lab soon to plant a hacker tag to integrate a world map into the system. Looks like the Hurration will be getting used a lot. Thank the sage I learned that jutsu. Naruto says, remembering cracking the code on transferring the concept of jutsu and sealing to operate on aura. He was lucky they were both weaponized life energy. Naruto heads for the elevator in the back of the building to head downstairs. The only other way down is from two spiral staircases at the left and right wing of the building. As he exits, the room is only divided into 3 sections. A huge vault with racks that line the walls already beginning to fill with scrolls as double team clones, record new moves they learned while training over 6 months. Organized by element, he sees shelves on shelves that extend up to the ceiling, hoping to see them filled one day. He goes to the back of the room where he sees an empty carved out slot in the shape of a cube. It was 200 meter deep and was 100 x 100 meters in length by width. Naruto plans to keep his money that he earns here for now. The next room is a study. It covers the back right corner of the room and is a basic room for sealing theory and experimentation. This also holds his library for seals. The final room is his masterpiece. Using a combination of ghost-type illusion tags, psychic-type animation tags, and steel-type reinforcement tags in combination with ground-type sturdy tags, he was able to design a room that can simulate 6 key parts to any operation. Stealth, aid, capture, recon, evacuation, demolition. He plans to make the unit called Sacred. They will be the Pokémon that help him bring change, expose what lurks in the dark, and clean up the mess afterwards. Like when he was a ninja, he plans on the teams having at least 4 members in a cell and having every Pokémon who joins the Sacred Corporation specialize in at least 2 of the 6 areas mentioned. After Naruto leaves the room, he hears an explosion in the backyard. Knowing the likely cause, he walks back there with his hands behind his head, eyes closed and a tiny smile gracing his features. When Naruto brought up his purpose here to the 3 Pokémon and what he plans to do, they immediately agreed to become a part of Sacred. Naruto asked why, it confused them. Flashback starts, 1 month ago. This is not a game. Naruto says with a tone here rarely used with the young creatures, surprising them. There will be death, you will not be able to save everyone, trust me I have tried, and the stuff you may encounter would make Darkrai shiver. The young Pokémon gulp hearing this, but one quickly regained their nerve. I have seen the cruelty of humans and Pokémon. Riolu starts with a fire in his eyes. Denied by my one kind because of my odd coloring, forcibly captured to just be sold for money, if I could save just one person or Pokémon from that nightmare. I felt the terror from those around me, in those dark cages. The trainers who are separated from their friends for life either from poachers or murderers, then it is worth it. Riolu finishes clenching his paw in front of his face. The other 2 inspired by the speech, quickly voice their agreement. Naruto finally smiles. It looks like we share more in common than just the mark. Finishing with a small laugh. Welcome to SACRED. Flashback end. After that talk, the new operatives threw themselves into training with a new drive. The 3 Pokémon have not changed too much besides the size of their arsenal, the power behind the moves, learning to manipulate aura to walk on solid surfaces, not yet mastering walking on water. Riolu has made the biggest strides, learning to infuse aura with more than just making a sphere, which is a feat in itself. Most of the Riolu line cannot make a proper sphere till they evolve, but to also use aura and force palm and bone rush is remarkable. Sneasel focused on his advantages, speed and precision. Learning to make his environment his advantage while also becoming more agile in a close quarters engagement. He would join Naruto to learn tree hopping on the laps. Finally, Guyball grew and showed signs of evolving with his top dorsal turning shades darker and shortening. He focused Guyball on his speed underground, feeling vibrations, and something he was severely lacking, dragon-type moves. Dragons are notorious for their aggressive attitudes, especially after evolving, and arrogance. The only reason this has not been a problem with Guyball is Naruto can easily bring him back to reality, leaving him humbled and the poaching experience still lingering in his mind. Naruto, seeing looking at the setting sun, addresses the Pokemon standing on the huge battlefield he created from reading books in the Canal Library. "It's time to wrap it up, guys, good work today. The progress you guys show makes me proud." They show a predictable response with their signature response to praise. Riolu slightly blushes, not used to positive attention. Sneasel smirks and Guyball happily jumps back and forth from foot to foot before launching at Naruto. Naruto easily caught the incoming missile and places him on his head before scooping up the other two, placing them on his shoulders before turning to go inside. As he lays the exhausted Pokemon down, he addresses them. "Tomorrow my clones will be taking you down to the simulation room. Seeing he has their full attention, I will be infiltrating a few important places to place the hacker seals to start gathering files and information." The trio of Pokemon, seeing the chance to prove themselves, nod determinedly and cannot wait for tomorrow. Next day. Naruto, after easily walking into the police department under the ghost-type move, Hayes, decides to make highway to a few bars, libraries and institutes to plant a seal on the computers and terminals there to start expanding his information hub. As he goes to leave a bar, he stops hearing something that sparks his interest. "I am telling you, man, that casino is rigged," a young man with says in defeat after losing all his money. His friend shaking his head in slight disbelief. "That would not happen if you froze on 20 like a normal person who says hit me at 20 playing blackjack." Still looking at the guy like he is an idiot. Naruto smirks at that, but quickly locates a building with flashing lights called the Golden Swan, going to an alley to change back, but using the illusion move to change his appearance to black hair, green eyes, and slight facial hair. He would change clothes, but with no money it will have to wait till after he cleans this place out. He walks in and immediately is assaulted by the smell of cheap perfume and cigar smoke. Taking a second to adjust, he sees the usually expected game tables and slot machines that casinos usually offer. In the back of the room is a bar. He walks over to a drunk man who is playing a slot machine. "Manyawu cheatin' coin spitter." The man slurs out while grabbing the handle on his third attempt before he passes out, slumping face first onto the screen. Naruto, seeing a chance, grabs a few coins from the man's cup and sits down to play at a slot a few seats down. He puts in one coin and sees the max payout of 10,000 is triple fire element. He puts coin in and the machine whirls to life with multiple lights and the chambers spin rapidly. Seeing the first chamber land fire and quickly followed by the second, quickly sits up straight as the last wheel seems to spin for an eternity. He watches as it starts to slow and barely tick over to fire element at the last moment. The machine announces loudly jackpot winner. And Naruto is showered with coins. "Seems like Lady Luck favors me no matter what dimension I end up in." He quickly scoops up his reward and moves on to a table. The game is Sinnoh Showdown, this is just poker, 10,000 to sit down. Big blind is 5,000 and small is 2,500, you intend to play. The dealer acts with a professional attitude and demeanor. Naruto looking at them and starts the plan. "I am new to Sinnoh, so I have never played, but I am always up for a challenge." The others at the table see easy money, not knowing about the Lycanroc and Mary clothing in front of them. 5 hands later. "Good game, gentlemen," Naruto says with a mocking bow while being 500,000 chips heavier. After quickly learning the game, he easily manipulated the table like a seasoned pro. After cashing out and learning the money is called poke, Naruto approached the bar and saw a crowd around 2 people. After making his way the front, he saw 3 men on the ground and someone who took his breath away. 15 minutes earlier. Amber Likens would not say her life was hard. Being the daughter of the Brett Likens, the owner and founder of Likens Law Firm, and Sarah Likens, a lawyer who her father hired and later fell in love with, made life financially a breeze. The problem is it also made it boring. I mean, her life is more predictable than seeing a rookie battle a champion. She decided to change that after waking up one day and being able to feel the world around her, and no, she did not mean in a spiritual sense. She could feel the love her parents had, the happiness of the old lady feeding the starly. The sadness and frustration of the single mother trying to make ends meet. To say it was scary was an understatement. She was not sure what to do about this gift. Share it. Keep it to herself. Becoming a detective. She knew all options had positive and negatives. That was the past, and after a year and deciding to learn a martial art referred to as Mind Fu. The problem right now is the emotion she felt from a man walking by her almost made her want to puke. She saw him go into a casino, slowly following him. She watches as he walks into an elevator in the back. She went to follow, though she knew it was a bad idea, but was interrupted on the way by a bunch of drunk guys who noticed her. "Hey baby." The man slurred with a cocky smirk. "What's a piece of ass like Yao doing here without a man?" His buddies laugh as if it was the greatest thing ever said. Panicking slightly at not having a proper excuse, she replies, "I am waiting for him here." She states with a slight fidget of her hands. "Be right." He stumbles backward a little before finding his balance. "Even I know that's a pill of Toro's shit, why don't you come have a drink with us?" Saying it like it was a statement and not a question. Getting impatient with the man, she snaps. "Look. I have places to be and have no time to entertain a bunch of drunks who look like they can't even count to 10. She goes to go by them but is grabbed suddenly and pushed toward the bar. "No bitch is going to talk to me like that," the man says while smashing a bottle on the bar to make a weapon and his friends watch. Seeing things escalate, girl brings up her hands in a knife-like fashion and gets ready. "Little girl thinks she can fight us, let's see you say that when my boys have you begging for mercy, Jetter." The three men, with the agility of a slowpoke, approach her and she can only feel the lust and anger from them. She quickly chops the three on the pressure point of the neck and they crumble to the ground, unable to keep up with the alcohol in their system. Present time. Naruto sees a woman roughly his age, he assumes between 19 and 21, and around 5'6", she has flowing platinum blonde hair and soothing amber-colored eyes. She wears a short-sleeved black crop top that shows off ear-toned stomach and generous chest. She wears a pair of jeans that look like they were painted on her long legs. She wears a pair of black boots with a fur lining and has light lip gloss on her luscious lips. After Naruto snaps from his daze, he can see her trying to dodge a drunk man who is furiously slashing while shouting incoherent things. The crowd is blocking off her escape and right before the man can plunge the sharp bottle into her neck, the drunk man is slugged hard enough to raise him off his feet and slam into the bottles on display behind the bar. Naruto was not sure what came over him, but seeing the man about to kill her and nobody stop it, he snapped. Amber was shocked, going from one second thinking it was over and the other looking at her savior. Disguised Naruto quickly grabbed her wrist and drug her out of the casino, ignoring her protests till they were back in the alley. Naruto let go and she whirled on him. "What's the big idea?" she says with righteous feminine fury. Naruto, fighting the instinct to run from years of suffering under Sakura and Tsunade, replied just as heatedly. "What are you thinking? A beauty like you walking around dressed like that? Do you want to be assaulted or abducted?" Amber, blushing lightly at the beauty comment, responds nervously. "What do you mean? This is the seedier area of town. Gangs, poachers and worse." He takes a second to let that settle in and she gasps in realization. "Now you see, you're lucky those men were hammered. The outcome could have been worse, why were you there by yourself anyway?" Amber does not know what to do. Maybe tell him her secret and see if he will believe her. As she debates in her head, Naruto can sense her turmoil and decides to help her along. This world is not all sunshine and rainbows. Taking a risk to help others takes guts and sacrifice. The world will never know it was you, but you know it's the right call. Amber, hearing those words, decides to take the plunge with a deep breath. I was there because seeing him send her an encouraging nod feels oddly secure to speak her mind. I felt a sinister emotion on a level I never felt before and was following him to see where he went. I know it was stupid, but reporting to the police a feeling I got. She ends with a dejected headshake while looking down. Naruto decides to answer her leap of faith with ones of his own. If I told you that there was a way for you to make a difference in the world, but it meant giving up everything for it, would you? Knowing that this could take years, maybe even a decade. She looks up stunned, thinking of her parents and all the friends she would leave behind. It sounds crazy living the cozy life I have. No issues with money, loving friends and family, yet my heart yearns for more. To see the world and use my gift for more than just everyday activities. If that means not seeing them for a while, but I can give them a brighter future. If that chance was possible, then I would take it in a heartbeat." She finishes with determined eyes and squared shoulders. Smiling the biggest since arriving, Naruto lowers his disguise, shocking her greatly. "I never introduced myself, did I? My name is Naruto Uzumaki and my mission is to save the world." She quickly refocuses, hearing the statement with a small blush from seeing his face, eyes and body. "Would you join me, miss?" Naruto leaves it open for her to finish. Amber likens. Thus, started the journey of the one who would be known as Truth, the mistress of emotions. The Golden Swanna. Afterward, Amber told him where the man went and did something that made her almost pass out from shock. Naruto used ghost style. Haze once more while holding her hand. As she went to question him about it, she got a mouth later and nodded, knowing this was serious. They made it to the elevator and he simply phased through the door, checked for cameras before lowering the haze when seeing the coast was clear. Turning to her, "You were right to be suspicious of him. This elevator is a Devon X fast track. The book I read said these were only used in buildings with at least 10 stories. She gasped. So, for the casino to have one doesn't make sense. Unless they are hiding something. Naruto finished for her and hit the button to go down with his gloved hand to leave no trace. They arrived at the bottom and Naruto quickly reapplied the haze move and stepped out as 2 scientists with clipboards stepped in. Another failure. The one mutters right before the door closes. Another failure. Naruto moves with Amber through the hallway till he sees a computer terminal on the other end. He sees 2 Pokemon in suspension fields that look tired and beat. The first Pokemon is made completely out of programming code. It has a pink polyhedral body with a blue front, blue triangular prism feet and a blue rectangular prism tail. It has a pink polyhedral head that ends in a blue beak and has hexagonal eyes. This is Porygon. The next Pokemon has a body of plasma and is shaped like a lightning rod. There is a whitish blue aura of electricity around it that forms lightning bolt-shaped appendages. It has teeth and its unique blue eyes have a dividing line across them. This is Rotom. Suddenly the room lights up followed by distress signs of the Pokemon as they are hit with electricity in high amounts. He sees them both start to animate before resisting and reforming. He looks over to see Amber crying. Amber are suffering, pain, distress. So much hopelessness. She states sounding broken and it makes Naruto even more pissed off. He is about to just destroy the lab and free them when he hears a voice. Attempt 367. The monotone voice sounds off. The subjects seem to be breaking slowly, soon we can integrate them into the system. Amber seeing him listening to something. What is being said? Knowing the information would only upset her further. Nothing important. It seems the man you met is part of an organization trying to force Pokemon like Rotom and Porygon to merge with devices. There was theory of this before but nothing concrete. He looks around before continuing. The second we free them. This place will be abandoned and most likely wipe the network clean. So, I am going to get a virus in first then free them. I will have a mole in the system to find these attempts and maybe put a name to the organization. Still holding her hand, they walk through the door and Naruto quickly places a mark on the side of the computer. It glows dimly before burning into the side and fading away. Okay, and now the escape. He turns to the glass and reaches in and grabbing the Pokemon and leaving 2 empty cages, half a dozen confused scientists and a blaring alarm behind. Amber is still looking at Naruto in silent awe. To handle that situation so professionally. He hacked them, saved the Pokemon, got out with no evidence of ever being there, and even left a call to the authorities. This only confirmed her belief that joining him was the right call. The 2 Pokemon in question see 2 humans but also sunlight and grow confused. What's easy happening? The Rotom calls out weakly as Porygon just looks on tiredly. They hear a soothing voice answer, it's all over now, you'll be safe. The last thing they feel is a comforting aura before darkness. Diablo's Ocean, Sinnoh. Izushio, Uzumaki Manor. A pure white swirl pattern opens in the infirmary. Naruto walks in first placing each Pokemon on a bed before using Heal Pulse. Amber walks in after and looks back in disbelief at the swirling portal before it fizzles out. Just another thing to ask about. She mutters not realizing that Naruto can't hear her with his enhanced senses. Okay, now that they are healing naturally, let's talk over some food. Naruto heads toward the kitchen and Amber is blown away by the size of the home. After eating, showing her the many rooms and explaining his purpose. She was blown away. He was basically the human form of Arceus. She picked a room for herself and slumped onto the bed. The Harbinger, the peacemaker, and she has no regrets about leaving it behind. Telling her family, she was going on a journey with a note. Father, mother, and everyone who I leave behind, I will make this a better world any way I can. With that final thought she closed her eyes. Naruto, getting the feedback from his clones, quickly rushes to the simulation room. Wanting to see the change himself, only to catch the glow dying down. What greeted him was a medium-sized bipedal dragon-like Pokemon that is primarily blue. Its underside is light blue, with red covering it from the middle of its abdomen to the bottoms of its jaw. It has 2 appendages that resemble jets or plane engines extending out the side of its skull. Each appendage has a blue stripe. It has 4 fins, 1 on each arm, 1 on its back and another on its tail. The back fin has a notch on it for the male. It has spikes on its hind limbs and sharp claws on its feet. Its eyes have black sclery and gold-colored irises. His crest is still on his dorsal fin, but the fin is now on his back. This is Gabite, the evolved form of Gible. Congratulations. Naruto states, getting their attention. You are 6 feet tall at least already. That is about 2 feet taller than the average. Go eat enough to bed now and good thinking on the stealth mission sim. The mission was to get valuable intel and report it efficiently, but to also plant sabotages that we could take advantage of show's initiative. The Pokemon all expressed themselves in their usual way before chatting as they head to the mess hall. After they leave, Naruto opens a portal and steps through. Appearing in an ally in Sanjim town. Okay, one last place for information purposes and I will have about 80% of Sinnoh's network mapped and siphoning information via the hacker tag. When he arrives at the lab, he applies haze again, quickly becoming his favorite move for this purpose, and walks through the wall. What he was met with was not what he was expecting. Looking right at him as if they knew something was there were the easily recognizable starters of Sinnoh. What caught his eye was the red chimchar and the 3 spiral marks that were steadily glowing brighter the longer he inspected them. Suddenly they darted forward and surprisingly enough tackled him out of the move. The 3 Pokémon looked up at him and felt his mark, knowing this was the human they were meant to go with. Naruto, after getting over his shock. Whoa. Little guys, relax. I don't know how you saw me, but I need to do one thing before we talk. Getting 3 head tilts in confusion. What do you need to do? The high-pitched female Piplup asked with hands on her hips, as if demanding he answer her. Not noticing the sweat drops of the other 2 beside her, used to this attitude. Laughing and used to dealing with this in the past, leans down and pats her head. Just need to apply a tag to the professor's terminal. It will just send me information on the world and all professors get information on crime. The Pokémon again getting confused because of lack of understanding. This won't harm him, right? He may be a stick in the muck but he treats us well. The quiet voice of Turtwig. Naruto wanting to try something, places his hand on Chimchar's mark. They swirl and Naruto extends mental link, one which Chimchar cements on his end. Naruto then transfers the information about himself, Kurama, meeting Arceus, his powers, the training, sacred, and his mission. When they both open their eyes, the other 2 are shocked by the similar fiery determination they show. Chimchar urges them to do the same and afterwards they can only look at Naruto like a savior and develop the same determination. So, you are going to fix the world, the old human talks about it with other people in white coats when he thinks we are not listening. He mentions names and crimes that are apparently problems everywhere. Chimchar pauses and takes a breath. So, if you truly are going to be fighting them, then I want in. Followed by a quiet yes and you bet your flipper not having to guess who said what. Naruto seeing that look smiles and opens the swirling portal. If that is your choice, then step through the portal. It will take you to my home, the place you saw when we linked up. The training will be tough but will make you stronger than any documented creatures have ever been. Ending with a smirk. You have 5 minutes to decide or I will take your absence as a decline. Before hopping through. The Pokémon only glance at each other before Turtwig and Piplup ran past Chimchar and into the portal. The last thing Chimchar heard was a voice he was very familiar with before walking through. Chimchar. The graying professor shouts as the creature leaves. He does not see the other 2 either and assumes they all went through. The swirl they walked into is just like the strange mark on their bodies. Speaking of which the professors and scientists around the globe have no idea what the whirlpool-like mark means. Every Pokémon either found or hatched with the mark has 4 things in common. Bigger than average size, higher than usual shown intelligence, a drive to train and grow stronger, and the inability to be captured via Pokeball. There was even the case of a Dragonite in the Kanto region being almost 20 feet tall. The only weird thing reported was the swirling mark reported on the underside of its tail in bright orange. Unfortunately, some of the poachers and criminal organizations have also caught wind of the potential the Pokémon with the mark have. They have been seen searching the wilderness in many regions before being engaged by police enforcement, rangers or G-men, before fleeing the area. The Pokémon in the wild that have been found or at least spotted, besides the starters of each region, have been the Dragonite in Kanto, a Trapinch in Ori, a Fletchling in Kalos, a Scyther in Johto, and a Larvesta in Unova. The scary part is it seems these Pokémon that usually need an evolution stone or item to evolve, seem to not need them. The Kingdra that was last spotted in Hon's Mauville Sea and traveling south towards Sinnoh's Diablo Ocean. The Seadra, at the time, was reported to be challenging any strong wild Pokémon and any trainer it passed either swimming or sailing. It was spotted evolving by a Pokémon ranger who was monitoring the seas for poachers when spotting the Seadra defeat a Sharpedo and then evolve afterwards. The other professors will need to learn of this development. The swirling tide has begun to move. The Pokémon world will soon be put into a frenzy by the anomaly and the attention will not all be positive. Deep in the turnback cave, Sinnoh. The group of 9 sat on a horseshoe-shaped table. The dark environment was only meant for meetings, so it was deep in the ground and was only this room. The ginormous computer before them was showing news stories about strange Pokémon with abnormal strength, intellect, and even advanced evolutionary abilities, but for some reason cannot be captured with a Pokeball. So, these Pokémon are what we are after, who one of the shadowed voices says, as if pondering if the time will be worth the money. Yes. A familiar blue-haired man with a 3 on his head says. Look at this. The screen showed the video of a man talking to 3 Pokémon at the Eterna Forest failed operation. The footage was shot from a camera attached to the many different bird Pokémon they have scouting the world for potential targets. The video shows 3 Pokémon, including that rare Reverism Riolu, talking to a cloaked individual. The video stops and zooms in on the mark to show the 3 Pokémon have the same marks that the reported ones in the news have. The camera switched focus to the man and shows the cloak he wears also shares the mark before he gathers them up and shoots off through the forest in a speed the camera can barely catch a blur of, and the video ends. Unfortunate, it seems an Aura Guardian beside Riley has resurfaced. Everyone in Sinnoh is aware of the Guardian Riley and his resemblance to the hero Sir Aaron. As the others were conversing, one of the dark figures slightly tilts his head up, showing his pitch black eyes that pulse once before he lowers it again. This type of conversation happened in more than one place in the cesspool of humanity. Tsunabur Island, Kanto. A herd of Raiden are lifted into the air before being slammed down viciously by a strong psychic attack. With another pulse, the dust from the impact is cleared, showing them all knocked out. The leader of Team Rocket just smirks while Mutwo looks on impassively. Good work. Team Rocket's goal of global domination will come faster than realized with you on our side. He states as grunts start to rapidly capture the unconscious beasts and have them loaded into black painted transporters with a styled R, picture a cargo bob from Top 5 in Team Rocket colors, on the side. The half-year has been terrible for Mutwo. Capturing Pokémon against their will, being forced to kill or mentally manipulate innocent people. He hates this, but Giovanni, for all the despicable and horrendous things he does, is not stupid. He put a chip in his neck that does not allow Mutwo to be over 100 yards from him, or he will be shocked until Giovanni is within the parameters. The chip also is a locator, a punisher, and a kill switch tied to Giovanni's heartbeat, and the worst part, they designed it to be anti-psychic. He cannot even just crush it in his neck and remove it after. So, Mutwo began to shut himself down. To lose his emotions to just keep his sanity. Diablo's Ocean, Uzushio. Uzumaki Compound. The Sinnoh starters see a ginormous room with smooth walls and the ceiling symbols covering the walls. A rock-like beast walks by that has been formed with animation, reformation, sturdy, and shifting seals. They are the workers of the fields in the inner islands. The compound needs food, and the islands grow berries, but his inner garden in the compound grows grains and vegetables that only humans truly need. The meat situation is covered currently from fish and birds that never evolved or grew intelligence like Pokémon. As they get situated and meet the other Pokémon, they run a quick simulation for the 6 squads that form SACRED and discover that they all thrived in demolition, especially Chimchar. Their secondaries were Evac, Capture and Recon for Piplup, Turtwig, and Chimchar, respectively. The theory on shiny Pokémon being naturally stronger seemed to be true, and with a mark on top of that, Chimchar will be a beast when he reaches his full potential. Seeing that the simulation room was mostly for operations, he used his steel-type energy to make slabs of metal, heated it using fire style, and formed it with psychic-type energy. He then cooled it off using water-type energy. It was a multitude of bars at different lengths for weightlifting. Ha applied gravity, reinforcement, and restriction seals to allow the bar to gain or lose weight, be harder to move, and be able to withstand the gravity change without bending or breaking. He later made vests and harnesses with growth, gravity, reinforcement, and restriction seals. The addition of the growth seal is so the vests and harnesses can adjust to the user's size. So, we have a base, a place to train, operation units, places for rescued or endangered Pokémon to live, as well as food and water from the natural lakes, and an information hub, but we lack the information of the outside world, and having my seals being distributed by clones won't be quick enough or record all the information needed. Naruto trails of in thought going through his checklist. Amber, who is listening to him while having her dinner, starts thinking before having an idea. The Ectraweb. Get it like the World Wide Web, but also a Pokémon move. I will just shut up now XD. Naruto, startled by her shout, replies intelligently. Why? How does a Pokémon move going to help us with information? Kurama inside his host just face palms, even he knows what she is talking about. Shaking her head at his ignorance. You mean to say you made a complex server room and control center that categorizes information by importance and threat level, but do not even know what your hacker seals are getting information from? Naruto shaking his head with a sheepish smile. Well, I haven't got to reading about it yet. Sighing, exasperated. Unbelievable. She breaks it down simply. The Electraweb is a vast network created by the last head of the Raisin family, Electra Raisin. They are originally from Vermilion City, but the clan moved to Laru City in the Hone region around 20 years ago. As you noticed, she based it of her name, the aspect of connecting things together like a web does, and the catchy name and pun of using a Pokémon move name. It also helps that all things that can access the Electraweb run on a form of electricity. She looks to see if Naruto is keeping up with her, and after seeing his nod to continue, does so. The network is used by everyone from professors to law enforcement to children. It is people can post wacky videos, rumors, or document findings of the world. She attempts to show him but notices it getting no signal. Why am I not getting a signal in the manor? She looks to Naruto for an explanation. This ocean is called Diablo's Ocean for a reason. It has a weird magnetic field from the meteors that landed here. It causes navigation, instrumentation, and even the satellite images are blurry. It was the biggest reason I decided so stay here after reading more about the area I landed in. Naruto answers calmly before taking her Pokédex. I can fix it though with a simple hacker seal. See. Naruto finishes as he applies the seal which engraves the seal into the back and the Pokédex suddenly loads the internet page with no issue. Naruto explains that since the server terminal and control room are a direct access into the internet, bypassing the need for satellite and tower signals, that it gets information and results instantly. Amber again looking at Naruto in disbelief tries it and to her shock, she saw the results pop up immediately after hitting enter on her Pokédex. This is amazing. Then the solution to Naruto's problem becomes obvious to her. Make a business. I don't have time to run. You don't have to run it. Look, I love technology and my ability to detect emotions including lies would make me a great businesswoman. If you make more money from casinos, like the $500,000 poke you made when we met, you could open a business that sells and designs hardware that connect to the internet. You could make a device that does what a Pokenav, Pokedex, and Electropad do all in one. She starts to pace back and forth across the room and Naruto smiles at how excited she is getting. Once we get settled, we could make the Uzumaki crest the logo and include your sealing tag on the back of the device as a design, but would really be tracing all information back to us. She finishes taking breaths to calm down, but looks at Naruto and blushes seeing his smile. What would you call it? Naruto asks with a now serious face. Wait you think that would work? You're not going to tell me to not use your logo or demand to name the idea? She questions in slight shock and confusion. Amber, this idea is perfect for what we need. It gets us information and could supply people and even certain Pokemon jobs to build the devices. We will have to find someone to run blueprints past. I believe it is a great idea and you deserve to name it. He finishes with a grin, again causing her to blush. She stands there pondering an idea before it hits her like a lightning bolt. Spiral Tech. All she gets in response is perfect, start designing and pitching ideas. I have Pokemon to train and you Incus fighting is unavoidable. As Naruto joins his now squad of 6, seeing them laughing at something Chimchar is telling them with great enthusiasm. He looks forward to the future with everything starting to move. The big players have noticed our entry, even if they do not know who we are yet. They will make moves to find out and either take us out or over. With the knowledge of the mark's existence, anything associated with it will be targeted, including this new business. Looks like action will be coming sooner than later. Naruto ends his monologue by getting his blooming team's attention and steels himself for the future ahead. Indok Town, Unova. In the heat of the night, a small, rabbit-like Pokemon with large pointed ears which form the letter V. It has large blue eyes and a round cream-colored head, which is comparatively large compared to its small cream body, while the tops of its ears, crest, and extremities are all orange. Its bulbous arms and legs are rounded to make a sort of cuff before ending with small 3-fingered hands and 2 toothed feet. It has 2 pointed teeth that can be seen on its upper jaw. It also has 2 cream wing-like tails, which allows it to fly. This is Victini, the victory Pokemon. The Pokemon in question charges up its signature attack before hitting a ginormous pillar head-on. The dust clears to show no damage, saddened again about losing to the one thing it wants to beat. It looks at the weird spiral mark that formed on its hand a while ago and feels the comforting aura fill its being. Suddenly feeling inspired to never give up, the small Pokemon charges up its move again. This time though it has a strange blue outline and is 3 times the size. Be create. It shouts like a pyroar using hyper voice. It rockets up towards the pillar and creates a giant explosion that creates a 50-yard crater that is 20 feet deep. Victini looks up with hopeful eyes but sees the familiar purple shine and sturdy pillar and tears its eyes. As it turns around to leave, it hears a sound. CRK. It snaps around looking for danger while becoming invisible. CRK. CRK. It looks back to the pillar to see the purple runes dim and the pillars start to crack everywhere and with one more V create it shatters to pieces. In the skies above Kalos. A group of flying types that are not usually flying together can be seen. A small avian Pokemon similar in appearance to a robin. It has a reddish-orange head with a triangular yellow mark on the back of each eye. Its body and wings are gray and there are white tips on the wings. It has a long black tail with a white V-shaped marking near the tip. The tail ends in 2 points and has 2 feathers sticking out at the base, resembling the fletching on the end of an arrow. Its legs, small beak, and eyes are black. The legs are thin and spindly, with 2 toes facing forward and 1 facing backward on each foot. This is the fletchling that has been spotted and reported on in the news. The next avian Pokemon has a primarily grayish-brown plumage. There is a white marking on its face, resembling a mask, and a white spot on its chest. The top portion of the mask marking is smaller on the female. The rest of its head and the lower half of its wings are black. It has a long orange beak with a black tip and oval, black eyes with white pupils. A small tuft of feathers curls over the back and its head, and a small pointed ruff surrounds its neck. It has 2 black tail feathers with a white feather between them. Its feet are orange with 3 toes in the front and 1 in the back. This is a Starly. Next is a small plump-bodied avian Pokemon. It is primarily brown with a cream-colored face, underside, and flight feathers. On top of its head is a short crest of 3 tufts. The center crest feathers are brown, and the outer 2 tufts are cream-colored. Just under its crest are its narrow eyes which have white sclera and pupil, along with its blacker irises. Angular black marking extends from behind its eyes and continue down its cheeks. It has a short, stubby beak and feet with 2 toes in front and 1 in back. Both its beak and feet are a grayish pink. It has a short brown tail made of 3 feathers. This is a Pidgey. Lastly, a silver-gray avian Pokemon with a long, metallic blue neck, legs, and tail. It has yellow eyes, a pointed beak with several pointed teeth, and a triangular crest on its head. There are red feathers under the sheaths that cover its sharp wings, and each feather can be moved independently. This is Skarmory. The thing that these Pokemon all share is on the top of their right wing is Uzumaki crest, and all the perks that come by being selected by the mark. The mark on all 4 is a bright vermilion red. As the 4 birds were meeting and flying towards the coast to settle before following the calling to head across the extensive ocean before them and head towards the biggest source of energy they feel. Unknown to the birds, the fletchling spotted in the news was being followed. Naruto's mindscape. Kurama, for the first time in his life, was not sure what to do. The orange misty diamond-shaped thing has been here siphoning energy from him for a while. The amount was not enough to even be noticeable, but after remembering seeing that orange crystal Naruto was inspecting on the island when they first arrived, he decided to leave it alone for a while. He debated telling Naruto, but noticed it was only using his aura and psychic energies. So, he left it alone. It was not even taking the energy faster than he regained it naturally, so until it showed signs of being harmful, he'd leave it be. The crystal sitting on the pedestal in the fountain out back suddenly pulsed before the Uzumaki insignia grew a little larger as if showing progression. Naruto, like always, has stirred everyone up, but is anyone truly prepared for the most unpredictable ninja? Chapter 4. The flow of things. Time skip, another 6 months. Naruto looks on at the growing team and smiles seeing the new additions being coached by the older members. He sees the Sinnoh trio helping a pair of Ralts, 1 male and 1 female, each with a mark on their backs in white. Speaking of the original members, Gabite is again close to evolving, but Weevil and Lucario did. His Reverism Lucario has a dark blue eye mask, head, tails, paws, and legs. His upper legs, arms and ears were black. His chest is pure white and his aura stones are all yellow, with each having his white Uzumaki swirl covering them. His eyes change to only fill his corneas with a pulsing blue, the iris is still red. Spiral tech is well underway with Amber setting up for now in the center of Sinnoh, Hertham City. He also had some run-ins with a different team. Flashback start, 4 months ago. Naruto getting the notice of a major crime being committed in the southern Johto region just off Route 33 near Azalea town. He quickly calls for Lucario, Weevil and Gabite. The powerful trio see the face of Naruto and know this is not a social call. Naruto quickly relays the details as the computer shows an image of the building that is being attacked beforehand. This is Zeno's care center. It is currently being attacked for unknown reason. The information shows that rockets have been in the area for some reason. The mission is to secure the building and capture anything inside. Remember your training, portal opens in T-10 seconds. He built a round Uzumaki spiral in the control center in the wall that can be an in-base portal system linked to the control center in case multiple destinations are needed and he is not available to warp them. It just requires an aura and think your destination and it will link to the closet Horatian tag. The portal in the room glows before the swirl opens in a spin going into the wall and forms the familiar white crest. They arrive in the nearby forest and see smoke just beyond the tree line. Communication at this point is all mental. I trust you to make your own choice, this is a team not a master-slave arrangement. Naruto says, not liking the concept of pokeballs. Lucario, Weevil, Gabite, let's go. The 3 launch into the trees and take off while Gabite dives down and moves through the ground like it's water. They arrive to see the building on fire and multiple rocket grunts rounding up small kids who are crying and see a woman dead just outside the door. Naruto snarls knowing the information is still too slow to prevent these types of casualties. You know the plan and with that they start the operation. The Pokemon quickly shake of the initial shock, having seen similar things in the simulation. Gabite sees the group of 4 grunts holding batons while surrounding the kids. He quickly dives underground to make his approach. Lucario, I got the 2 in the back. Got it, 3 2 1. From the kids' perspective, the grunts all suddenly fall over before seeing the giant Gabite and Lucario standing over them. Gabite quickly grabs the 4 grunts before placing them together in a hole he dug, leaving only the heads above ground and taking the pokeballs from their belts by using the tree walking exercise on his arm to hold them. The kids all seem scared except one boy who gets up and walks up to the Lucario with a tilted head. Lucario simply smiles before patting his head and picking all the kids up, seeing psychic. Whoa. This is awesome. And Lucario's personal favorite. I'm flying. It is amazing how innocent kids are, that they can go from scared to joyful, even after an event like this. Just another reason to fight, to protect the future of innocence, like these children. But Naruto and Weevil. The duo is moving in a fast weaving pattern as they approach the Pokémon being guarded by an assortment of Houndour, Muck, and a few Persian. The Persian are considered higher priority, so they must go. 3 Persian, 5 Houndour, and a Muck. Weevil. The Pokémon requires no further instruction. It zips off toward the Houndour while shooting an ice beam at the Muck, completely freezing it in place. Eliminating the chance of poison. He then gains a silver gleam in his claws before charging the Houndour, who are getting ready to hit him with a super effective flamethrower barrage and seemingly disappear before reappearing behind the canines, and they suddenly fall over with cuts everywhere but are only unconscious. Weevil looks over to see the cats out cold and Naruto using his aura to heal any severe or life-threatening wounds. Extinguish the house and check for survivors. Naruto states without looking up from his healing. Weevil with another burst of aura zips around the house while using frost breath to cool the flames and enters while using his ice energy to circulate his body temperature to not overheat in the still smoldering building. Weevil closes his eyes before focusing on the training to listen for anything and hears a creak and sees an older human in rough shape. One human, bleeding from his head and side, needs treatment immediately. Naruto is there by the time the sentence ends and starts applying aura pulse to the man to seal his wounds, hoping the blood loss was not too extensive. After treating the old man, returns to the Pokémon to finish his analysis when he notices something. And Aaron was the most beat up amongst the baby Pokémon. He asks a few of the others why that was. He was the first to fight them when they arrived. He is the youngest though, so he was not able to do much, but that didn't stop him. Aburi stated with her bruises rapidly fading, just looking tired and relieved it was over. He looks over the tiny Aaron again and notices on his belly when rolling him over was a familiar light blue crest that matched his eyes. Naruto's eye widens, feeling the connection when he touches the mark, is confused on why he did not feel the Pokémon when they were in the area. He closes his eyes and sends out an aura pulse to feel an extremely strong psychic presence just leave the area. He wonders if that can mask the mark's energy and wonders what is the power to do so. Flashback end. A daycare worker was greatly saddened with his wife's passing. Naruto offered to relocate them if he wanted to come with him. The man, not trusting him, asked tons of questions about him. After getting grilled about just about everything humanly possible, the man relaxed and accepted the offer. He had the clones and quickly made supplies and made a daycare building on Yuzushio. The building is situated on the northern side of the island. It has 3 stories and a basement. He also made a small playground for the kids and baby Pokémon to have fun and exercise. He made sure that a garden also grew there with everything the daycare man would need. He also had a few golems to help with anything Zeno could not handle. The kids were in awe of their new home and the Pokémon were recovering well. Naruto learned a lot about technology during this time. Amber was very good with their applications and showed the new streamlined devices for the company to make. The Whirlpool desktop, look up the Apex Zen, it is a streamlined device that is a fifth of the size of the current Sylph company model. The processing power is twice as fast and consumes less power to use. All in all, and complete improvement. Next was the Maki tablet. It would take the place of a Pokédex and Pokenav. It could expand and shrink for storage purposes. The device would scan anything and give information, from Pokémon to common natural resources. Design-wise, think of the scrolls from RWBY. The last device was the Yuzu Cellular. The device was a small rectangle device that would easily fit in your pocket. The device could be used to access the electroweb, take photos, record videos, and make long-distance calls. This would be great for trainers on the road who need to report crimes or request help if in danger. Each device would have a seal that applied waterproofing, reinforcement, solar absorption, and hacker. Flashback start 3 months ago. Amber and Naruto walk up the doors of the Pocket headquarters in Jubilife City. It is well known that the owner only made this as a hobby, and with Naruto cleaning out 3 casinos in different regions, it was safe to say they planned to buy it. The company already makes gear for trainers and researchers and has at least 1 building of operations in every region. The plan is to buy the rights and start making the parts. then expand the business with the revenue made selling the new products. They would start to create the service towers across the globe and create thousands of jobs in the process. The information then would be uploaded to the Electra web servers and at the same time to their own back at the base. The duo walks in the building and head to the receptionist's desk. "We have an appointment with Mr. Cloud at 3 o'clock. Amber politely starts only for the receptionist to barely acknowledge her. "Take a seat in the lounge and take a number," she states while filing her nails. A sweat drop before moving to the side. Naruto, seeing the slight nervousness, grabs her hand and sends her a calming smile. She blushes slightly, feeling his warm calloused hands that engulfs his completely. She looks up to see his blue eyes. He is masking the unique coloring of his eyes with an illusion and calming smile and feels her confidence returning. Suddenly an announcement goes off on the speakers. Now seeing number 13. Amber checks her ticket and sees it match and gets up, followed by Naruto holding the briefcase full of money. They head up the elevator and open the doors. Behind the desk is a man with short, spiky brown hair with black eyes. He is wearing a beige suit with a white undershirt and a dark green tie. He is currently typing wildly on a terminal desktop. He looks up to see us and slightly blushes seeing Amber before clearing his throat. "My name is Samson Cloud, welcome to Pocketch, the Sinnoh region's #1 developer for technology." He finishes with a proud smile. Amber quick to introduce themselves. "I am Amber Cushions and my associate Nathan Masters." Naruto nods in greeting. "We would like to discuss a future partnership or complete ownership of this company." The man is slightly shocked before leading them to the meeting room at the other end of the hall. Naruto pulls out the briefcase before showing 10 million poke in the case. Naruto gives a small smile seeing the amount being offered. "We are prepared to pay 10 million for full ownership or become co-owner with you for half this price." Samson takes a breath. "What could you offer the company to even consider the thought of handing this business to you? This is a hobby to me, but to just give it up for money that we could make in 2 years' time anyway seems foolish." The businessman finishes while leaning forward with interlocking fingers. Amber looks at Naruto, who gets the meaning, and he pulls out the 3 blueprints with their specs, material use, and application. The longer Mr. Cloud looked over the blueprints, the more his eyes widened before standing up and exclaiming excitedly. The concept shown could completely change the world's concept of information. To have so much available on a mobile device could save lives of trainers everywhere. This is simply brilliant, and the material cost is low because the cheap metals used are in high abundance. The idea of cellular towers to boost radio signals is a revolutionary idea. The man, still in his own world, is brought make to reality from a stifled giggle and an exaggerated cough. The man blushes before shaking it off. "I have a different proposition. How about you give me 7.5 million, but I get to lead the R&D department?" He continues seeing the curious looks. "I love building and inventing. The thrill of technological study, the chance to revolutionize the world. I started off doing that and people loved it, but suddenly we were a worldwide conglomerate on par with Sylph Company and Devon Corporation." Naruto seeing where this was going. "You lost your ability to build to lead the company forward." The man sighs, "Yes, and every day I pass the R&D department, I feel the familiar longing to get back to my roots. To build, create, and improve on the technological aspects of the world." He finishes with a passionate smile. Naruto looks at Amber and gives a nod. She smiles back before accepting. "That is agreeable. The contract will need to be reworked to include this, but we welcome you, Samson Cloud, to Spiral Tech, the place that will be spinning heads for years to come." She finishes extending her hand and he firmly grasps it. "To a beautiful and prosperous future." Flashback end. "Ever since then the world has been trying to get an interview with us, but we declined for now. Using the easy excuse of transferring the buildings across the world to the Spiral colors and advertisement. The production of the desktop, tablet and cell are beginning smoothly and they should be ready for field testing in a month or 2. The cellular towers are also being established in every region across the globe." He put up barriers around the towers and the new buildings that worked like sensors, and anyone without a specialized pass that held the clock in for the workers would be temporarily paralyzed. The first intruders found that out the hard way. The biggest change has been the activity of the underground. They seem to be switching focus to higher grade targets at the moment. They have not attacked a trainer since the confrontation we had earlier in the year. They seem to be after only shiny, legendaries and the Pokemon marked with the Uzumaki insignia. He remembered the run-in he had with them as he looked over at a certain bringer of nightmares. Flashback starts 3 months ago. Naruto was training with his Pokemon when an intense amount of energy washed over his tags, located at the Rigagiga's temple near Tenny Village. He placed security tags around a lot of the legendary locations in the world to keep them safe from harm. The only ones he has problems with are the roaming legendaries like the big 3 dogs and birds, for example. Naruto quickly opens a rift and jumps in, followed by Lucario, as they were doing 1v1 combat to work on close hand. He arrives with Lucario to see something concerning. It seemed that something else decided to save the shrine but was overwhelmed and was forced into a psychic barrier. The Pokemon in question was not just any Pokemon. It was the legendary bringer of nightmares Darkrai. Not just any Darkrai, a shiny one. This Darkrai has a dark purple body and the spiked ring around its neck was a bright red. His eye was a lime green and smoke-like hair was a snow white. What made Naruto a little cautious was the fact that detaining a Darkrai should have been impossible for the group before him unless they had something of equal or greater power to balance the odds. He quickly saw the 50 or so Pokemon under the influence of Dark Void. The move that traps a Pokemon in its worst nightmare. Only a few things can escape this move. The group of grunts clear out to reveal a striking figure. She was a very tall woman, around 6 foot he would guess. She had dark red hair and eyes to match. The only mark on her face was a number 5 on the side of her temple. She wore long black sleeve V-neck covered by her combat vest. She had military-styled pants in a matching colored, finished with some combat boots. Her left arm had the familiar underground tattoo in crimson red. She also had a rifle on her shoulder. She is known as Ruby. He was surprised to see a gun. Guns in general were frowned upon and outlawed entirely after the war that happened during Sir Aaron's time. To see one now was concerning. The most worrying part was when she looked at the Darkrai, she turned the knob and fired what looked like a small energy pellet surrounded with fighting-type energy at the legendary. The speed that the projectile hit caused the creature to flinch and release a low groan. Naruto turns to Lucario and makes a game plan. She is the biggest threat. You will take her down. Use combo 3 while I take out the grunts attempting to force their ways into Rigagiga's temple. Lucario nods before getting in position to apprehend the underground executive. Naruto quickly make an aura weapon. It is a recurve bow that looks ethereal in appearance. It has no arrows, but the second Naruto pulls the string back, 5 arrows form. Just as he goes to release and non-lethally strike 5 grunts, he notices a weird energy near the boss. Lucario, wait. It was too late. Combo 3 is extreme speed, agility, and force palm all together. It is an attack meant to completely send the target flying with speed and power. Even if the attack is blocked, the kinetic force should still propel them a good distance. This did not happen as a barrier erected around her. A Dusk Noir rises out from her shadow and uses Sucker Punch, which Lucario quickly evades with another burst of extreme speed. Naruto, seeing all the focus on Lucario, creates a distraction. Normal style. Double team. Naruto sends out copies who use a combo move of their own. Flying style. Air Slicer. Fire style. Flamethrower. The flamethrower doubles in size and is used to make a colossal ring of fire around the area. He does this for 2 reasons, so they cannot escape and that the town nearby will report it to the authorities. Lucario sees this but raises an aura paw to deflect a shot from the rifle. He looks at his paw and sees a slight burn mark. This shocks him because his aura is very thick from being a reverseism and having the Uzumaki crest on top of that. The operative is a little shocked to see the bullet deflected so easily but continues firing. She figures it must have hurt more than let on if it begun to dodge them. Dusk Noir used Trick Room. Lucario suddenly feels like he is moving in slow motion as the many bullets head his way and uses a move he was hoping to save for later. Substitute. Think the substitution or Kawarimi technique from Naruto. Both Dusk Noir and Ruby look confused when a tree log is shredded to pieces, only for an aura beam come firing out of the tree line, blasting Dusk Noir near the firewall. Ruby looked from the collapsed form of Dusk Noir and stupidly looked back at the Lucario. She notices that the grunts in the meantime stood no chance against a man wearing a pure white cloak with blue rune-like lines rushing in with a staff that can transform at the ends. She saw him make a hammer-like end to bat one of the Ursaring away. She focused back on the Lucario to barely dodge a swipe aiming to knock her out. Quickly making some distance, she fires fire-type energy at the steel fighting type, playing off its type advantage. Back with Naruto. He is easily mowing through the 50 or some grunts and their Pokemon like they are not even there. The Darkrai in the suppressant cage could not believe the power the human was showing. The guns these humans had were painful and to be hit by so much energy he was weak against took its toll while fighting the horde of Pokemon while trying to dodge the guns. The human was dodging, deflecting, and attacking simultaneously. He would even cause friendly fire to happen with his positioning or moving a gunman in front of him, not that the scum really cared. Naruto had a few things that truly angered him. One of those things was lack of camaraderie. To see the criminals still shoot even after he used one of their own as a shield and kill the man in the process was something that he could not forgive. So, with an anger-infused yell, he released a pulse of aura that rippled through the ground, throwing everyone back and extinguishing the wall. When the dust cleared, Darkrai could not believe it. The massive crater he left without killing anyone, except the ones used as meat shields before, was incredible and made the Pokémon curious if it could get that powerful one day. Suddenly 3 helicopters show up with bigger guns on the side. They drop one rope that the executive grabs onto, while the grunts and Pokémon in the area are protected by Naruto and Lucario's aura, so they could question them. As they get away, a pair of glowing black eyes meet Naruto's vibrant blue before the doors close and the choppers fade away as if never there. Naruto and Lucario turn to see a camera crew chopper recording the scene and a squad of Jennies with mouths agape. Naruto quickly summons portals beneath the Pokémon, leaving the grunts for the cops. Unknowingly, a certain legendary Pokémon transported with the others. The camera crew captured the whole event and the rumors of the rise of another Aura Guardian surged across the globe. Flashback end. The Pokémon he rescued from the underground grunts were grateful for the release and picked the environment suited for them while living their lives peacefully. That was another thing, the Pokémon he rescued or released from criminals he would take with him and ask them for any information about bases. They all had the same answer. They never got to see the base, either kept in a dark room or inside the pokeballs of the grunts until needed for operations. The shiny Darkrai was another thing though. The Nightmare Pokémon asked him for training, and after 3 months it was safe to say that only his Lucario could handle the Pokémon on an even footing. The other Pokémon he brought with him also were offered training if they wanted for defense. He told them all the same thing. The world is full of mysteries, and thinking that their islands could not be found or invaded on day was being naive. Most denied saying they believed in my sacred units. The only one that accepted was the operative Ruby's Dusk Noir. The other good news was that Zeno was able to settle in and some of the new Pokémon would play with the kids and help around the center for meals or cleaning if they were able. The quick rundown of the unit looked like this. Stealth. Lucario, Weevil. Aid. Ralts, F, Audino, Blissey. Recon. Empoleon, Ralts, M. Capture. Torterra, Raichu, Electivire. Evac. Wylord, Tropius. Demolition. Infernape, S, Garchomp, Magmortar. Naruto had a mile-wide smile looking at the growing team before him. The original 6 members all became like mentors to the new blood. Eventually, that would change when he picked the 6 captains for each unit. Those 6 would be responsible for organizing the teams and training new members with the simulation room and weight equipment. He felt a weight settle on his shoulder before seeing the familiar macaron treat being inhaled like he used to do with Raymond. The victory Pokémon emerged from invisibility with a happy chirp before purring when Naruto scratched it behind its right ear. He walked while supporting the little guy on his forearm. Thinking back on how he met the gluttonous creature. Flashback start 2.5 months ago. This is Channel 4 News. I'm Cindy Burkfield here to report that the infamous organization Underground, known for their violent and brutal methods for capturing and selling Pokémon, has been thwarted in their operation in the outskirts of Tenny Village. It is unclear what the group was after. Most private investigators believe they were after Regigigas. The temple is rumored to be its resting place. These images here show a man and his strangely colored Lucario take on a squad of 50 underground grunts. The most shocking thing is that a Darkrai was on the scene as well and captured in some type of force field showed here. As the broadcast shows the results, people around the world were having similar conversations. The UGD has guns. I can't believe they could detain a legendary. The man is an Aura Guardian, finally another peacekeeper. What is wrong with that Lucario? Two people in the Iron Islands were excited for a different reason. The pair of twins in Kalos were excited for a different reason. The person in a bar hiding their body in a raggedy cloak, eyes widened for a different reason. They all said the same thing at the same time unknowingly. I am not the only one per second. Deep in the bewildered forest, Sinnoh. Underground HQ. Ruby spit out blood after receiving her umpteenth punch from the shadowy figure. You're lucky, Ruby, if we weren't losing so many members to one pesky fly, then I would have offed you two like those grunts the police were getting ready to question from the failed Tenny Village incident. The man finishes while using a rag for the excess blood on his hands. Ruby just nods her head while not making eye contact. Knowing she was lucky to keep her head, knowing the history and motto of the group. The UGD was not thrilled with this new vigilante running around the world. They already had plans for Riley and his bitch of a sister. They not need more aura or psychic powered individuals running around. The only two who were not worried were the leader and his second in command. They had powers of their own, and the bugs of this world would find out what really made the Underground a group to be feared. But Naruto and Amber. Amber turned off the control center screen and looked a sheepish Naruto in the eye. So, you didn't know they were that close. She crosses her arms under her generous chest and looks at Naruto sternly. Aura and psychic energies are so low in humans that it might as well not be there. Yours is like 10 times the usual size, and you are just an empath. I keep mine suppressed. Just in case enemy organizations have energy manipulators of their own. He sighs before continuing. They were lucky that the UGT was only concerned about getting the executive and killing the witnesses to see them in the smoke from the firewall I created. The wall also was full of my energy, blocking my senses from beyond it temporarily. Amber, seeing his point and nervousness, softens her expression before giving him a hug. It's okay, I just worry about you when you go out there. Naruto lightly blushes and gently wraps her in his arms. Hey now, it's me we're talking about, and with the Pokemon watching my back we will be fine, promise. She relaxes while feeling safer than she has ever been and whispers, I know. Unbeknownst to the pair, familiar mark starts to form above Amber's hip to the left of her belly bottom, in the beginnings of a crest. Suddenly the news kicks on when an alert sound in the control center. This is Kathy Stein of the Unova Informative. Officials arrive on the scene of a large crater in Eindhoven town. They have yet to deduce the cause, but with rise in criminal activity across the regions, could this be the result of dubious activity? Stay tuned. Naruto sits up straight before mentally calling a quick team together through the mental communication. Tropius, you are on evac if needed, scout the area if not. Lucario, Weevil, you will sneak around, find any info on native Pokemon. Be it myth, rumors, legends, so on. Torterra, you are on standby if I need you for a hostile detainment. Infernip, you will with me from the start, we will be the first responders to any criminals in the area. Empoleon, you will be in the ocean nearby, report any suspicious activity. We launch in 10 seconds to the ocean surface outside Eindhoven town. Naruto and his squad quickly warp unknown to them as certain organization is already in pursuit of the cause of the explosion. But Victini. It has been on the run for a while. The weird humans with the black and gray stealth uniforms. They had black berets and gray masks to cover their identity. They stumbled upon Victini soon after its successful escape. They were able to suppress the information from the public for a while, in hopes of capturing the victory Pokemon. It was unlucky timing for the small legendary. It used a lot of power to break free, a noticeable amount. Victini was confused on why it felt a calling to the ocean, like everything would be fine if it could just make it there. It was trying as hard as it can, the only thing keeping it going was the new attitude it developed after getting free from the prison it was held in for the last century. As Victini broke through the tree line and in view of the ocean, it was struck hard from the air by an avian Pokemon known as Braviary. The aerial ace had launched Victini through the sand, and the last thing it saw as the blackness finally closed in was a white-cloaked human with the most unique eyes he ever saw. Naruto. Naruto arrived and the Pokemon all immediately took off except for Infernip and Lucario. He had Lucario stay to scan the area with him for multiple lifeforms in the ground while he checked the surface and sky. They did not have to check wrong when a large trench was carved in the sand leading to the ocean. Naruto quickly used teleport to the end to see a Pokemon he was going to rescue later. He was aware of the runes that trapped Victini from the world. He was making seals to counter the effects. He could just blow it up, but the needed power required to do it without attracting attention was still out of his reach. He sees the Pokemon reach its small arm towards him and is shocked to see his family crest on the outstretched hand, glowing brightly before a connection is solidified instantly, like the little guy before him instinctively trusts him more than anything. A large team of grunts wearing the Team Plasma uniform walk out of the forest line. Not noticing Naruto just yet. 6 months of chasing down a rabbit that can turn invisible, at least Getsus will get of our back after it gets to apply it to the battery. Naruto did not need any more information to know what they planned for the cute little guy under him. He slowly bends down and picks him up. Thank you. Naruto smiles hearing the childlike voice in his head. No problem little guy, get some rest, you have deserved it for your effort to run for this long. He whispers to the small legendary getting a soft smile and he feels the Pokemon fully relax and cuddle closer to his warmth. The tired grunts finally realize they are not alone when they look up to see a white cloak with runes running all over it and glowing blue eyes holding their target. Hey, if you know what's good for you, then you will leave now. Better yet free those Pokemon and hand them over, they are free creatures who deserve to live in peace. The man finishes with an authoritative look but cannot hide the gleam of greed from his eyes at the prospect of capturing the extremely rare beasts before it. Okay then. So, you aren't going what? The man stumbles having never gotten such a cavalier response. Sure, I will release them, only if you do the same. I notice the pokeballs on your belts and such and the Pokemon slowly closing in from the air and ground. So, I will release them if you will. Naruto finishes with a condescending tone knowing full well when he sees a hypocrite how to ruffle their feathers. Well, I need them I'm a cop. The man decides to go with his third excuse as if that makes total sense. During this talk, one of the grunts was studying Naruto with confusion as if he saw this figure in the news, the man's eyes widen in shock before he shakes in horror. Some see the man slowly stepping back towards the forest line as if he is going to run. What is you so spooked? The man still visibly shaking. Do you not know who that is? That's the new guy who has been everywhere recently. Taking out numerous criminal organization operation, he even killed some of those UGT guys in Tenny. The Blue Spirit, the Aura Prince, he goes by many names, but his most popular is Messiah. The public loves him, and the criminal scum fear him like a darkrai in their closet. AN. Shout out to anyone who gets where Blue Spirit and Aura Prince comes from. Love those stories. The others quickly snapped back to the man to see him extending a hand towards them. They quickly look to issue commands, but see the flying Pokemon being dropped by the strange Lucario. It looked like huge comet as it chased down and collided with the multiple Mandibas and Braviary in the area. The ground between them suddenly turns molten hot as the Pokemon using Dig are violently ejected from the ground with various burns on their bodies. Infernip used Supernova, which is a combo of Fluriblitz and Inferno. It is a move that can be used to make a detonation, so he uses it underground to simulate a volcano eruption. Lucario on the other hand used Aura Comet. The move uses Giga Impact infused with the user's aura. While using the aura, Lucario closes his eyes and relies on aura vision to locate the energies of his opponents, and as long as he never stops moving, he will not receive the small recoil of the heavy-hitting normal-type move. The Pokemon land next to their trainer ready for any more enemies, while a burst of chains appears around them from the ground that Naruto sent from the soles of his feet. They are quickly decimated with the shackles as he would wrap them up and quickly apply a quick electric shock through his chains. The metal, being a good conductor, made the small shock amplified enough to render them unconscious. Naruto leaves a note on one of the grunts like he has been for a while now. Naruto wants the police to know he is on the side of good. That he is here to help, not hinder. He sees all his Pokemon return with no problems and take one last look before using a small psychic to lift the downed Pokemon and their Pokeballs. He quickly crushes the balls before spawning a portal for them all to be sent through. The last thing he hears is the familiar siren approaching the scene. Officer Jenny. So, he is really everywhere, how the officer mutters while pulling the note of the grunt's forehead. The note explained that the team was using the guise of equality with Pokemon to be the only ones to have them. To take over the region when everyone was disarmed, so to speak. This was concerning because Team Plasma was becoming a group that the younger generation was starting to listen to. She realizes that this could be an issue in a few years if this keeps up. Flashback end. The rest of the year finished off like this. He was shutting down big operations, getting praise from both civilians and police officials alike. They liked that he only helped with the stuff a little outside their pay grade. He focused on finding more and more Pokemon that sported his mark. The mark. It was a strange thing, that mark. He noticed a few more things about it, like he could apply it to others if he willed it to be there. Darkrai and Dusknoir asked for one, and when Naruto said it was not up to him, they asked why not. So, he tried, and the mark responded. They both now were larger than before, had more power, and could instinctively use their aura. He noticed that it must be a two-way acceptance. When he tried to apply it, it was like trying to run through a brick wall, but said wall quickly turned to sand when they accepted. So, he could not force the mark onto a Pokemon. He looked down again at the childish legendary and was astounded by the heart and energy this little guy had. He would train till he could barely move and then still go play with the rescued children and baby Pokemon from operations. Another thing about the islands, where he currently had over 500 Pokemon living on each island, the Pokemon that he relocated there were grateful to be free from the people they were captured by. The Pokeball is a device that influences compliance from the captured creature to its master. He hated the concept but understood that humans have no ability to stop the Pokemon if they all decided to rise up to eradicate them, especially the legendaries. His information network was growing steadily now with the help of Porygon and Rotom. The two Pokemon were fascinated by the control center and instinctively merged with the device. Porygon was constantly upgrading the program side of the Seal network. Rotom was accelerating the processing power even further. We were pulling in millions of gigabits of information a day, and the Pokemon also assisted the system in organizing the important from the monotonous. He finally found Amber, and she looked like an angel to him as always. It was like they were connected on a deeper level sometimes. She would finish his sentences as if reading his mind. He felt Victini rush over to her and the children she was reading a story to. A small girl around age 5 was quick to hug the small legendary Pokemon while softly giggling when Victini would make her hair into crazy styles. Seeing that Victini spurred the children to play, she silently shooed them toward the door and they all followed the energetic creature to play tag at the playground. The only new addition to Amber over the half a year was she filled out a little bit more and had 2 Pokeballs on her hip. The control center has some information that left me unsettled. Naruto starts of seriously. Seeing her curious head tilt, he continues. It states rumors that this year's open qualifier tournament for the Champions Cup tournament will be attacked by multiple orgs. I see Rocket, UGD, and even Cipher in the mix. It is unknown for what purpose, but I can assume a few things. 1. Just eliminate a lot of potential trainers who are either well established or up-and-coming. 2. Capture the stronger Pokémon for a different purpose. The third thing I think of is scary to think about, but it could be a statement against me. Amber looks confused, but her eyes widen when she sees the grim expression. You have been a thorn in their side for too long. They are even cooperating to draw you out. The weird part is Cipher. Naruto starts while rubbing his chin in thought. The Ori region has never had one criminal organization rise over the others like this. It makes me think that they are the ones to watch out for. Badian Port, Ori. The bar brawl breaks out in the small bar again. The bartender just continues to serve like this is everyday life, which in Orion might as well be. This region is noticeably arid, being divided into a huge desert wasteland and a small, mountainous green region. In the center is Mount Battle, a dormant volcano where trainers go to sharpen their skills. Ori has very few settlements in it due to the dry climate. Its largest city, Phoenix City, is in Ori's harshest environment. There is a lively port to the southwest of Ori, which is presumably how it keeps its connections with the other regions, using ships such as the SS Libra. Despite its environmental problems, it is one of the most advanced regions in terms of science and architecture. Due to the rough terrain, it is not known if there are any connecting routes. Wild Pokémon are very rare, appearing in only a handful of spots throughout the whole region. In the back of the bar is cloaked figure, listening to multiple shady figures sitting at the booth behind hers. This woman is Savannah Sharp. She is 5 foot 2 inches tall. She was 17 years old. She has a generous bust and ass to boot from years of training and gifted genetics. She has dark purple almost black hair that reaches the small of her back and sky blue eyes. Under her cloak she wears long black sleeved turtleneck with black dark brown combat pants with black combat boots. She has a knife in her boot and a short sword resting horizontally across the small of her back. She has a secret though that in a place like Ori would cause her to be hunted down for either money or dissection. She was an Ori user. She noticed it when she interacted with some of the local desert-dwelling Pokémon that she could understand them. She met her partner Pokémon Flygon as a trapinch while she was stopping at the local outskirts stand. She was hearing rumors recently that a bunch of criminal teams were destroyed recently including the Pyrite building. The wreckage was strange, like it was crushed and ripped apart at the same time. It makes you wonder what happened. Flashback, 1 month ago. You could see the leaders of the big three in Ori, Snag'em, Cipher, and Stellar. The operation they were performing has been going on in secret for years now. They would abduct people from all over the world for a specific reason. Artificially engineering humans capable of harnessing the elements like Pokémon do. The tests were brutal. They would take a Pokémon and force its power out with a specialized device. The device was called the Siphoner. The device did as named, it forcibly extracted energy and it would be directed into a human via injections. The process was excruciating. The Pokémon would die from stress most of the time and the humans in question in the 10 years of random testing have never survived a single trial. The human body could only handle so much. Then Team Snag'em brought in 2 people that gave them hope. The 2 in question were Aura positive, which exists in 0.01% of the population. Their names were listed on a sheet with extensive details. Name: Seiya Bronson. Age: 16. Location: Altamar, Johto. Height: 5'3". Measurements: 85 centimeters, 57 centimeters, 87 centimeters. Hair: black. Eyes: blue. Heritage: mixed. Name: Kendrick King. Age: 18. Location: Lumia City, Kalos. Height: 5'4". Measurements: 97 centimeters, 64 centimeters, 95 centimeters. Hair: blonde. Eyes: blue. Heritage: white. The leaders saw the 2 beauties in the floating tanks and thought about the month they have been there. There have been records in history about aura or psychic enhanced humans and one thing was constant across the board. They all were exceedingly handsome or beautiful. It was as if nature was showing them the potential they all held. They were more athletic, durable, had a smaller learning curve and ridiculous reflexes. They were human beings that reached their full potential. The ratio has always been skewed though. It seemed that 90% of natural enhanced humans were female. A male was extremely rare, it was why Riley Carson of Iron Islands was such a spectacle. The month of testing was way more careful and applied with a certain energy that seemed to react positively to the woman. The tests are introduced in small doses every day to help the body adapts to it over time. The body views it as a disease 99.9% of the time. It rejects it violently, usually resulting in brain aneurysms, heart failure, and internal shutdowns. The user could also get sick because of the lower immune defense to the rest of the body. Even with the enhancements they naturally possess, the odds were only slightly higher at 5% for just one to survive. Say it was being injected with the serum. Shadow. This was a combination of darkness and ghost-type energy they were able to siphon from Azorork and Abanet. They went with Pokemon that were pure types and not dual to make sure there was no unintentional integration. The second was labeled Serum. Vector. This was a combo of psychic and flying energy. They got the energies from a Noctil and an Alakazam. The idea was for the mixture to produce the ability for unassisted flight, but also manipulation of the world's vectors. It is heavily influenced on math, which is also being introduced to her via psychic-type Pokemon. The two creatures used are also known for their intellect. The scientists believed they found a breakthrough when both women started to be faintly highlighted with a pitch black and bright white aura respectively, when the machine monitoring vitals started sounding off as they were starting to fail. The stress levels are too high. The brain is starting to go into fight-or-flight mode. In this case, try and forcibly adapt or start sacrificing the non-essentials to preserve the important organs. The scientist states to the boss before both women suddenly brightly glow before their aura starts to condense on the right side of their navel in a swirling fashion. Admark, why does it look so fama? The man doesn't get to finish his thought. Suddenly both women scream before they slowly change. Saya's hair turns to a pitch black color and her eyes glow an eerie purple. Kendra's hair turns to a stark white color and her eyes deepen to a cobalt blue. Their capsule containers suddenly burst before both enhanced walks out with their wet hair covering their bodies. They look up and the grunts of the three teams approach them with stun batons and energy rifles. The baton wielders guard the shooters as they fire, but they are stunned to see the bullets be redirected by an unseen force. The scientist that was informing the leaders gasps. The serum worked, she is manipulating the vectors at an unprecedented speed. We have no way of controlling them currently, and they will not forget the experiments we forced them through. Suddenly the shadows from the soldiers reach up and begin to strangle them. As they attempted in a last-ditch effort to shoot, the guns and batons exploded from the inside. An. If you need an example of how they will primarily use their powers. Kendra will be like Accelerator from a certain magical index, and Saya will be like Shadow Dragon slaying magic in terms of uses like in Fairy Tail. Seeing the grunts be ruthlessly chalked to death, the leaders try to leave, but Snag'em and Stellar's leaders are snagged and dragged back into the darkening room. The leader of Cipher escapes and gets his team and the scientists out safely. He looks at a flash drive he was able to grab that contained the research on the shadow formula and was willing to leave the cleanup to the other teams. Those other teams would never be heard from again, and Cipher finally had the keys needed to become the superpower of Ori. Flashback end. Savannah looked down at her hip and seeing the light glow that happened occasionally from the weird spiral mark that slowly formed over the last year. She came to the port to get information before heading towards Pyrite Town. She had to get more concrete evidence of the downfall of Snag'em and Stellar. The world was not aware yet, but she would find the reason for the explosion of the Pyrite building and to be a catalyst for the rumors of an attack on the Open Champion Cup qualifiers. Naruto and Amber. The only way to cement the rumors is to join the tournament. The team has grown well over the year, and I think giving Empoleon, Torterra, Weevil, Garchomp, Electivire, and Magmortar a workout will be both a good way to survey the field, and I can see the burn for competition in their eyes. They are like me in that way. They just want to show the world that they are the best. Naruto finishes with a fond smile which Amber cannot help but replicate. She looks at her Maki tablet and quickly found where it will be held at Paradise Islands in the international waters. Paradise Islands is a small collection of islands that focus on the pleasures of life. Food, entertainment, sports and most importantly the center island is a collection of stadiums for the Pokemon battles. The stadium is only used for the Champions Cup and Master Ascension tournament. The place brings in hundreds of thousands of people each year and gives the winner the chance to run the gauntlet. The gauntlet is you pick a region of your choice. You then must fight the Elite Four and champion of that region. If you make it through, then you become champion of said region. The gauntlet has been attempted many times but only one trainer has ever become champion this way, and it was Lance Wataru, the Kanto champion, when he challenged the Johto champion, Gold, and won to become the first dual regional champion. Naruto let his team know and saw the others look slightly upset, but after Naruto assured them of other chances and needing them to scout the area for him while he battles, they relented. He looked around and could not help the spark in his soul that always lingered to prove himself to those around him. Skies above Kalo's waters. This is Flame 1 in position on targets. The four birds were above the oceans of Kalos. They were planning on heading through the Unova region and then getting to the energy cluster they can sense in Sinnoh. This is Seer 1 to Flame 1, engage the target. Copy. Suddenly, the birds hear the whirling of helicopter blades before four stealth choppers come into view. The choppers were equipped with stun guns mounted on the sides, a cage at the bottom and two claw-like hands at the front. The Skarmory and Pidgey going down with Starly and Fletchling going up. The choppers in pursuit split to follow while launching the bullets to corral them back towards each other. Pidgey is struck with a shock round and can shake it off due to its enhancements from the swirl mark. They have been battling for a while and the mark seems to give them a boost in power when they need it most. The 4 birds simultaneously glow a bright white. The 4 that come out are Staravia, Pidgeotto, Fletchinder, and something that caused the operatives to pause. An unknown Pokémon was flying over the sky and it was big. It doubled in height to a whopping 12 feet. Its blade-like wings came together. The whole body became scale-like in appearance, but were layered knives that could be ejected from its body, and another pair grew further down its body. The wings were sharp as any blade and could twist in a full 360 degrees to blend anything close. It grew a pair of forearms with 3 claws in a triangle position with kunai-shaped claws. It grew Senbon-like projectiles around its neck and its head slightly elongated and widened out. It grew a second horn that was slightly smaller than the first, they were both shaped like katanas. The tail grew in length, giving it a chain-like appearance with a spiked mace ball on the end. I lost the red coloring in the wings and it became predominantly gray, dark gray, and black. Skarmory, Steel Dragon. The Pokémon in question turned its now red eyes upon the helicopter in front of it and sent a barrage of knives through the windshield, thus killing both targets. Our team is down, focus on the unknown, seems to still be steel type at least. The helicopters pursued the newly evolved Skarmory. The dragon steel type turned to the others. Leave now. Skarmory's voice gravely said. Go toward Unova, I will catch up. The other 3 looked at each other, but seeing the wounds, knew it was up to them to deliver the message. They took off and one stealth chopper attempted to shoot them, but the hulking body of the new species barely felt it before whipping its new tail that extends and crushes into tail of the chopper, causing it to spin into the ocean. The other 2 flanked the beast and using the clawed hands, shot them to wrap around the 4 wings of the creature. With its ability to fly tethered it turned its neck and aimed its tail, but before it could fire it was electrocuted by thousands of volts through the wires and was slowly knocked unconscious. Stay safe my friends. Paradise Islands, International Waters. President Charles Goodshow just got down debriefing the security detail. The Paradise Islands were co-owned by Scott and himself. The reason they left it in international was for no one region to own the most prestigious tournament around. They took the revenue they made and put half of it back into the facilities that all the leagues need to operate. They have state-of-the-art seating and battle arenas that can change to fit random Pokémon environments. The biggest problem they will have is the amount of attention the event gets, good and bad. He hopes this year will go smooth as the Champions Tournament only happens twice every 10 years and the Masters Tournament happens once every 10 years. If only he knew the storm that was on the horizon. Iron Islands, Sinnoh. The rain was pouring heavily in the area, there was destruction and splintered trees everywhere. Any last words Riley? The Aura Guardian just grinned with blood in his teeth. He will stop you. The man's eyes flashed black. He will fail like all the rest. Brother. And the lighting strikes, illuminating the darkened landscape. Chapter 5. Tournament Turbulence. The time was finally here. The world was in anticipation to see who would qualify for the main event later in the year for the Champions Tournament. Naruto at this time has only seen a couple new additions to his roster. The crime organizations again have gone quiet, which is good and bad. The information on their activities has been lessened, but the overall gain of his company has gone up tremendously. Spiral Corporation has been fully opened across the world and the devices have become wildly popular. The size, durability, and speed has been a huge hit with the younger population. The parents feel more at ease knowing their young children have a quick way to call for help while exploring the world. They hired 2 executives to run the operations for them. Amber and Naruto were the founders, and the simple operations were handled by Viola Taylor and Jack Owens. Viola was a finance and business major who is extremely familiar with investments and making partnerships. Jack was a renowned barrister and was the lawyer for the company. They covered everything and reported it to Amber if anything major happened. The devices were also being showcased at the expo at Paradise Island. Many people were interested in the logo. Some for simple curiosity, others seemed to be fishing for something more. The professors of the regions were there to study interactions of this scale. Pokémon were everywhere and seeing such prime examples of the species battle was worth recording. They also brought the starters of their regions with them. The Pokémon were growing like crazy and all have evolved to their secondary form, some are even fully evolved. They are huge and the case of Pokeballs not working made the professors and abnormal Pokémon stand out in the crowds. People everywhere were amazed by the sheer size of the monsters and the confidence they had. They all seemed to be heading for the center stadium. The professors have only been able to get a few samples like hair, skin, or other byproducts of the Pokémon. Any attempt at analyzing the mark or taking a blood sample left them with a broken tool. The screens across the islands flickered to show Mr. Goodshow. Welcome one and all to the 5th Champion Cup. Remember, this is the qualifier for the actual tournament that will be in the fall 6 months from now. There are 1024 contestants that will be brought down to 128. The screen was changing to show the brackets as he was talking. The names will be randomly selected for each arena. The only rule to advance to the 256 stage is to win 4 matches. The battles will be 3v3. You could do it in 4 attempts or it could take you more. The crowds around the island were getting excited for the event to start. The next round will slice the 256 into 128 with a double battle round. This will be a 4v4 battle, meaning 4 Pokémon for each trainer. The week-long event will end with 2 of the regional champions on the last day, battling in a 6v6 battle for your entertainment. The crowd roared in anticipation. So, I hope everyone is ready for an action-packed week, and to the trainers, good luck. The screens went back to the regular advertisements, but the people were too excited to care. To see a few hundred battles in 6 days shows that this event will have round-the-clock battles. The stadiums are equipped to handle the stress of Team Rocket, UGD, and Cipher. So, the stage is set. Yes, and with the grunts currently planting the charges around the arenas. The ending event will surely go out with a bang, don't you think? The executive of UGD stated with an arrogant smirk. So Giovanni, your little pet will be able to handle the champion's Pokémon while we detain the rest. The leader of Cipher questioned with a serious demeanor. The pet in question was in the corner with a bored yet accepting look in its eyes. Mutwo was honestly running out of hope. He tried multiple things to free himself, but they all resulted in failure. The only hope he had was losing to something stronger than itself. To end this existence called life, and if he was lucky, drag these bastards down with him. Naruto. Naruto was currently in the woods around the arenas on Colosseum Island. He was fighting both Electivire and Infernup in a clearing, and it was aura enhancements only. Naruto leaped back from overhead slam from Electivire and had to quickly dodge Infernup, who sprung off his teammate's back. Naruto then engages the duo in a blur of hand-to-hand combat, and suddenly Naruto grabs the wrist of both combatants and twists, flipping them over on top of each other. Naruto smiles seeing the thoroughly exhausted team. Good try, guys. Your teamwork was way better that time, but it will still be a while before you can defeat me. Electivire, be ready for tomorrow. You got it, boss. The Electric Ape gives a salute before going to a shady tree to slumber. Naruto shakes his head before he scans the area for any life forms and feels a slight change in an area, but shrugs when he sees nothing. A slim young woman of medium height. She has long black hair with shorter layers around her face and a fringe and small purple eyes. She wears a red and black dress over her curvy form with yellow cuffs over black tights, leggings, black gloves, and red knee-high boots. This is Sabrina, a gym leader and renowned psychic. She was in disbelief on what she just saw. A blonde-haired human with the most beautiful eyes she has ever seen just battled the biggest example of the species of Pokémon ever recorded. She assumed this must be the man known as Messiah in the news. He has arrested and interrupted more criminals and their operations than anyone else has. The people love him, and the criminal orgs are doing anything to find who he is. I wonder if he is responsible for this too. She trails off, looking at the swirl above her hip that she remembered pulsed when she was near him. She also recalled the mark on the 2 Pokémon he was battling. She does not know what is happening, but she knows one thing. The man before her will change everything. Day 2. Naruto walked down the path towards his fight while thinking back to the conversation he had with Kurama last night. Flashback starts. Naruto, the stone is pulsing slowly now. I believe that it is getting closer to finishing whatever it is doing. The Kyuubi states while lazily poking the crystal with one of his tails. Naruto looks to the orange crystal that is slowly orbiting his partner and sees that the Uzumaki swirl is almost completely wrapped around it. He notices the pulses seem to reflect a heartbeat in rhythm. Do you think this may be a Pokémon of some kind? It's definitely possible. It seems to be leeching, but it is weird. Its aura is starting to reflect a bit of ours. It seems to be leeching certain aspects from each of us. Kurama looks closer and notices that the crystal seems to be growing a small golden exoskeleton around the crystal. Well, if you don't believe it to be harmful, then maybe it could be an ally. Naruto says with a curious expression while imagining what it could look like. We'll have to wait and see. Flashback end. Naruto comes out of his thoughts at the sounds of the stadium. The people are excited for the action and he will deliver. The referee calmly raises his hand and the crowd eventually quiets down to marginal level. In the red corner, we have this year's Johto League runner-up, Connor Blevins. Connor walks out and the people cheer loudly for the man who put on a good showing just a few months ago. In the blue corner we have a new trainer to the Pokémon circuit, Nathan Masons. The crowd gives a noticeable lower excitement level to our hero, which causes a smirk to form on Connor's face. A newbie. To think someone would be stupid enough to debut during the qualifiers for the biggest open tournament in the world. Are you dumb or just arrogant? Naruto shakes his head at the hypocritical man. Arrogant or dumb? Is the pot calling out the kettle? The man gets angry at the jab and goes to reply. The referee cuts in. The board will now select the stage. Remember, these facilities can offer all the environmental climates of the world. The spinner on the Jumbotron quickly whirls around the board before settling on rock. The field will be rock and the format is 3v3 single battles. Trainers, please release your Pokemon. The field quickly sinks into the ground and shifts into a rocky environment with a lone river cutting the field in half horizontally. The field also has plateaus and spires scattered everywhere. Owner tosses his ball up and out comes a Nidoking. The bipedal purple dinosaur lets out a piercing roar and glares across the field. Naruto sees this and grabs an empty Pokeball before filling the ball with a flash attack. He throws the Pokeball while summoning Electivire to the field. The crowd does not notice a thing, but certain groups watching the match do. The 10-foot-tall electric ape lands on the field, pounding his chest, and lets loose a roar that made his opponents feel like a whisper in comparison. Everyone in the stadium goes silent. You could hear a pin drop before they erupted into applause, as if challenged by the roar, and felt the need to respond. His opponent quickly shakes off his shock before laughing. An electric type. You really are a newbie. The man finishes with a small shake of the head before calling out. Nidoking use earthquake. The arena floor starts to vibrate before Naruto gives his command to Electivire. This is your battle, my friend. Show the world what you can do. Naruto casually sits down after seeing the thumbs up from his teammate. The crowd hearing the command was in disbelief. To let a Pokemon battle on its own. They quickly went into a frenzy. Hey, your Pokemon is going to get hurt. Do you have any respect for the sport? This is why new trainers should be tested before being allowed to capture Pokemon. Naruto rolls his eyes at the words being flung his way. Electivire, hearing this, gets a little angry at the people badmouthing his friend. He sees the rippling earth coming his way and raises two force palms infused with aura before slamming them into the ground. The earthquake stops short of the electric ape and the show of power quiets the crowd. Owner, seeing this, quickly changes strategy. Use toxic spikes. Nidoking generates barbed scales from its hide before launching them skyward to spread the field. Electivire, seeing this, uses discharge in a way that no one has seen before. The behemoth jumps into the air before making an electric cage around its body and blasts it outwards like an imp. The spikes are disintegrated, and the most surprising part is it looks like Nidoking took some minor damage from the electric attack. How W, that should be impossible. Koner shouts and starts to get a little desperate. Use drill run. Nidoking crouches forward before spinning its horn and rushing forward with a surprising speed for its size. Electivire stands there and waits. The crowd leans forward in worry and anticipation before the electric Pokemon sidesteps the attack and wraps the legs of the Nidoking with its feelers. The crowd's eyes continued to widen when the Pokemon lifted the 150-pound monster into the air before slamming it and whipping it high into the air. As the Pokemon rose and somersaulted, it was hit by a rain dance and was quickly swallowed by the rapidly forming storm clouds. Electivire roared as the Nidoking started to fall to the ground, and the arena is engulfed in a blinding flash as the thunder attack resonates throughout the stadium. After the flash ends, the referee sees the knocked out Pokemon. Red corner, please release your second Pokemon. This snaps the crowd out of their shock and they start cheering loudly for the newcomer's performance. Owner, seeing the crowd starting to back his opponent, tries to save face. So, you have a few tricks. So what? My next Pokemon will wipe the floor with you. He grabs another ball from his belt before a Meganium appears on the field. The Johto grass starter gives the Electivire a stern glare. First use Sunny Day to clear the skies and then use Energy Ball. The Meganium quickly charges the miniature sun before firing it high and quickly clears the stormy skies. It then lowers its head before charging an Energy Ball and firing it with a fast pace towards her target. The Electivire looked at the ball lazily before cupping his hand and catching the ball, and with a quick twist, launches the ball back with twice the speed. This again shocked the crowd with such an unorthodox method, and the Meganium is launched back with her own attack and is drilled into the ground by a fire punch. Koner looked surprised that the Electivire was able to move so fast. The dust cleared and a thoroughly unconscious Meganium was reviled with Electivire pulling it out of the crater before gently laying it in front of its trainer. Said trainer was now deathly quiet. The disbelief was extremely apparent. Without a word, he released his last Pokemon, which was a Rhyperior. This was slightly surprising to Naruto. He knows how hard it is to evolve the species to their final form. The Pokemon was quiet and had a serious demeanor. It looked at the giant Electivire before it. Koner, who has a defeated look on his face, sighs. Use Earthquake. With a single step, the ground shakes violently, causing a few of the spires to collapse. Electivire quickly jumps into the river to avoid the vibrating ground. Koner slightly perks up at his perceived chance. Ice Beam, freeze the river solid. The drill Pokemon quickly freezes the surface to entrap the Thunderbolt Pokemon. Suddenly the ground under Rhyperior cracks before a vicious combo of an ice uppercut followed by a brick break that puts massive damage upon the Pokemon. The Rhyperior is quick to recover though, and with a commanded Stone Edge, the pillars of rock quickly race towards Electivire. Electivire has other plans when he jumps over one, smashes through another, used his feelers to swing around a third, and finally applying aura to his feet to run across the side of the last. He launches of the pillar to deliver a point-blank focus blast that launched the heavy Pokemon across the landscape, smashing into the barrier and knocking it out cold. The red corner is out of Pokemon, and with a score of 3-0, the winner is Nathan Masons. The crowd again was in disbelief. The Electivire before them just did things that challenged everything known about the species. The Pokemon did a small bow to its opponents before walking over to his trainer and getting a knuckle touch and a smile. The people slowly began to clap before they were all on their feet and cheering. "Hear that, buddy?" Naruto questions while giving the giant a good-natured punch to the arm. "You just made history for your kind today." Electivire smiled back before giving one last chest pound as they turned to leave. They quickly left down the tunnel, and after finding a secluded locker room, Naruto sends his friend back to their training area to rest before joining the scouting teams. They have yet to find any signs of criminals and it's beginning to worry him greatly. The IP box. The show was up in the VIP sitting area that had 6 screens, 3 on each wall. They showed the main Colosseum and the 5 smaller arenas that surrounded it. The people currently with him were the champions of each region along with the professors. A tall thin man with bright scarlet red spiked hair, pale skin, and dark eyes. He wears a medieval-looking navy blue tunic with red-orange trim, a brown belt around his waist, and large black boots with orange 2 rings around the top of each boot. The cuffs of his long sleeves are black with orange zigzagging trim separating the cuff from the navy blue part of the sleeve. He sports a long flowing cape around his neck which is black on the outside and crimson red on the inside. This is champion of the Kanto and Johto regions, Lance Wataru. Next is a tall thin young man with ice blue hair and sky blue eyes. He wears a charcoal jacket with 2 black zigzag stripes, a white undershirt, and a red tie. He wears skinny black pants and black shoes with low heels, as well as metallic jewelry on both of his sleeves and his index and ring fingers. He has a pin on his jacket called the Mega Stick Pin, which he uses to Mega Evolve his Metagross. This is the champion of the Hone region, Steven Stone. Next to him is a tall and curvy woman with wavy knee-length creamy blonde long hair that has bangs covering her left eye. Her eyes are gray and she wears straight black leg trousers, a long black coat with a v-neck and black fur, rimming the cuffs and running down the end of the coat. The coat also has a large teardrop-shaped ornament on the center of it, used as a fastener. She also dons a black top underneath. Her outfit is finished with black kitten heels and a yellow stripe on each shoes. For accessories she wore a large black feathery ruff around her neck with 2 hair clips in her hair, both resembling 2 teardrop-shaped objects conjoined with a pale yellow stripe. This is the champion of the Sinnoh region, Cynthia Sharona. Next is a tall, powerfully built man with long flaming red hair tied back in a spiky ponytail, tan skin, and dark eyes. His hair resembles the feathery headdress of a Native American chief. He also wears an outfit that is like the garb of a Native American. A tan cloak-like vestments with a black collar, red and orange trim on the sleeves, and orange and black trim across the middle. He wears white pants with ragged ends and black sandals on his feet. He sports a necklace of 6 pokeballs. This is the champion of Unova, Alder Alnus. The next person has short light brown hair that is designed in a somewhat star pattern, with front bangs standing up, light blue eyes and violet eyeshadow. She wears a fairy-like white outfit with lots of gold trim. She is equipped with a white choker and white long-sleeved blazer with lapels that possess large buttons and a small collar, the blazer finished with 3 petal-like ends, and the sleeves have 2 golden lines on the cuffs. 2 lacy objects on the back of her outfit resemble cloud-like wings that is likely to be connected to the blazer. She also wears a simple white shirt with 2 golden lines near the end of the shirt. Finishing her attire, she wears short white shorts and low high heel boots, also the color white. She carries a pink purse, and she wears a gold swan-shaped necklace called the Mega Charm, which she uses to Mega Evolve her Gardevoir. This is the champion of the Kalos region, Diantha Kern. Next to her is a man with an above-average build, purple, long hair, and amber eyes. His cap is always pointing up to look like a crown, and he wears a cape which has logos of sponsors on it. His black striped shirt has a sword and shield on it. This is the champion of the Galar region and the current world champion, Leon DaCosta. The professors were also in the room with the Pokemon starters of their region all together in the room behind them to socialize, but to also keep them in check. The starters were all evolved once and too dangerous to give away now. Not that they could with the Pokeballs not working properly. The screens all had the same thing showing. They saw a blonde-haired young man just sit back and relax while his absolute giant of an Electivire dismantled the opponent's team with extremely unorthodox moves. The champions and professors were studying the battle piece by piece. Till Cynthia broke the silence. He could be a psychic. Steven looks at her before shaking his head. It's possible, but those moves were very unpredictable and the size of the Electivire was staggering. I believe we just saw a Pokemon at the height of its species potential. Sycamore states before seeing many confused or intrigued eyes. The Electivire was double the size, but it was also at least double the speed as shown in its second fight. The professor begins to pace the room. The thing that makes me curious though is the way it was brought out and the mark it bears. They see the professor showing the Pokeball opening, but the shock was the lack of a red laser and in its place was glowing swirling portal on the ground of the arena. Rowan gasps, bringing attention to him. When the 3 starters in my lab disappeared, that was the mark they walked into, whoever this Nathan Mason is. We need to find out what he is up to and what his intentions are. But the starter Pokemon. While the faces of the league were talking, the starters themselves were discussing their next move. He is here, that man we saw briefly on the screens had the mark on his cloak as long with the Electivire with him. Said Belief with clear excitement in her voice. The others looked between each other and knew what she said to be true, the power that they shared between them and the similarities the Electivire showed was too much to be coincidence. The power that the Electivire showed was amazing to think with that man's guidance, he could battle on his own and for the human to trust him so much is a rare sight. Kulava muttered softly. Beside Kulava the other fire types were pumped up. The others were quick to join the excitement and the room was quickly enveloped by the loud talking of Pokemon. Unknown to them, they would meet their destined trainer sooner than they thought. Day 3. The stadiums again were packed to the brim with people as a recap was playing on all the screens across the islands. This is Cassandra Klein with the highlights of Day 1. People across the world got to see the famous gym leaders and Elite Four battle it out with other high-class trainers, but the battle on everyone's mind is the Nathan Masons v Conor Blevins. Mr. Masons decided to wow the crowd not only with his completely revolutionary Electivire being about double the average size the species is known to be. The screen flashes to images of the battle on the screen. He also completely destroyed the concept of what battling is known to be, not uttering a single command to his Pokemon, and said Pokemon showing abilities and maneuvers that have never been seen. We hope that Mr. Mason shows us that this is not a fluke with today's second round fights. To all the fans in the stadiums and at home, this has been Cassandra Klein with your tournament recap. The TV is turned off in multiple areas around the world, the mark now has a face and a name behind it, for better or worse. Naruto. Naruto turns to his Pokemon before contacting all of them via the mark. Has anyone found anything to report? Naruto calmly hears multiple negative answers before sighing, well keep searching and Magmortar it's your turn today, you will fight the last 2 singles battles, like Electivire yesterday. Hearing a grunt from the stoic Pokemon got an amused smile from Naruto. Walking into Stadium 2, the hero could see the Jumbotron displaying his fights yesterday, and the hype behind his unorthodox fighting style was borderline obsessive. Some speculate psychic powers, some say it is body commands, and others even think I could be Arceus reincarnated, which is ridiculous but hilarious. Naruto walked through the tunnel, but stops as he notices someone waiting for him. The man in question is a redhead with a skinny frame. He has red eyes to match his hair, and he gives Naruto a cocky grin, make sure you make it to the next round, I cannot wait to crush you in front of everyone. As the man walks away Naruto gives his back a wry smile and shakes his head. He hears the referee begin the introductions. In the red corner we have the gym leader from Sinnoh, Crasher Wake. The crowd cheers for the big man as he flexes and waves for the crowd. In the blue corner is the newcomer who is making waves, Nathan Masons. The crowd erupts into a bigger cheer than before as the blonde walks out with a small smile and bows to his opponent. Naruto raises from his bow, let's have a great match. Wake gives an excited grin before responding in kind, let the best man win. The Jumbotron rapidly spins before landing on the ice biome. The environment sinks into the floor before being replaced by a frozen ground with ice stalagmites and plateaus littering the area. The selected region is ice. Trainers. Release your Pokemon. Both sides release their choice, and again the crowd is amazed with the titanic-looking Magmortar that bursts from his ball. Crasher is confident in his choice as his Quagsire gets its footing and looks up to see the fire tank before it. It shakes off its fear before glaring heatedly. Naruto again gives the first move. Magmortar, the stage is yours. The grunt he received is enough for him as he sits down again and gets ready to spectate his friend's talent be displayed. Crasher frowns, this may work against the average Joe, but I was not selected for my position lightly. Quagsire, Hydro Pump. The waterfish Pokemon quickly charges up the attack before firing a surge of water towards his opponent. Magmortar stood still before using Protect and surprisingly was charging a Sunny Day simultaneously. The crowd again had to wonder how such a thing was doable. Combos are not a new concept, but developing two different moves at the same type was. The weather move was launched and the field immediately saw the difference. The pillars started to melt rapidly and people were confused on why creating the water would be a good strategy for the fire type. Suddenly Magmortar's eyes glowed a pinkish hue, signaling the use of Psychic. The water around him was then condensed into needles and sent toward the opponent. Crasher quickly wore off his surprise, Quagsire take it. The Pokemon did as commanded and started absorbing the water. The needles suddenly halted and were hit by a flamethrower attack, creating a steam to engulf the field. Quagsire was suddenly swept off its feet and kicked into the air. The blast Pokemon lifted its cannons up and fired a twin solar beam that created a massive explosion. The Quagsire rapidly fell but was cocooned in a Psychic and gently laid before its trainer with burns from the super effective attack on its body. The crowd cheered uproariously at the display. The champs, elites and professors could not believe how the Pokemon at such a disadvantage used the environment so well to create an advantageous situation. Using the needles to test the ability its opponent had, then creating a smokescreen from the melted water was brilliant. That was amazing. Good show, shouted while jumping out of his chair. For a Pokemon to think so far ahead of its opponent without a single command is just unbelievable. The rest of the people in the room could not dispute the claim, they too were blown away by the events before them. Back with Naruto and Crasher. Crasher was also dumbfounded. So, he decided to go big for this one. That was an impressive display, Nathan. I can see the countless hours of training before me, but my next Pokemon is large and in charge. He lobs the ball up and releases the atrocious Pokemon, Gyarados. The ginormous snake-like being unleashes a bellowing roar and glares angrily at Magmortar. If the effects from Intimidate settled in for the blast Pokemon, it was hard to notice. Naruto, Nathan, stays sitting calmly. I appreciate the compliment, Crasher, but it is my Pokemon's dedication to improvement that got him this far. Getting a grunt of agreement from Magmortar. Crasher simply smirks. Gyarados use Surf to test the waters. With a roar, a giant wave of water is formed and surges forward, crushing ice pillars and plateaus and carrying them as debris. Magmortar sees the chunks and uses that to stay above the attack and simply ride it out. Use Hurricane on the water and use Dragon Dance till it breaks free. This causes Naruto to smile, seeing his opponent start to get less conventional. The Hurricane attack whips up around Magmortar, carrying the ice and existing water to trap him in. Magmortar looks around before rotating its arms in a circle, creating a fire spin around its body and adding more and more fire to make its own tornado. The audience can hear the sizzling of the two conflicting elements battling for superiority. Suddenly the heat seems to multiply when Magmortar uses Heatwave to expel the tornado outwards, creating thick fog once more. Crasher, remembering how good this Pokemon is when concealed, used Twister to clear the field, then rush forward with a Quattail. After quickly clearing the field, the physical move being amplified by 3 consecutive Dragon Dances was significantly stronger than it would be. The crowd looks on as the blast Pokemon stands still, as if to take the super effective attack head on. The attack shakes the ground and chunks of ice go flying everywhere. Crasher has wide smile and looks to see Nathan crushed, but is confused to still see the tiny smile and laxed position. He quickly looks back at the battle when he hears Gyarados roar in pain and is sent sliding across the field and through 3 plateaus, the final one crashing down on it. Everyone was confused to see the Magmortar seemingly was in the place that Gyarados was sent flying from. The residue electricity fading from its hands. Crasher, still in disbelief, just looks at his opponent and utters the one word on everyone's mind. How? The disguised Naruto simply smiles again. I trained my Magmortar to learn a move that is rare for its kind to know, Teleport. It took a second before looks of realization settle in. The last Magmortar to show the move on this stage was Gym Leader Blaine's father, which was 50 years ago. People again erupt into a frenzy from the spectacle. Red corner, release your last Pokemon. Crasher looks down before smiling in resignation. He knows this will be the end, but wants to knock out at least one. Floatzel, let's go. The Sea Weasel Pokemon appears and enters an aggressive stance. Magmortar raises an arm and fires a flamethrower that looked more like a hyper beam. Use Hydro Pump at your feet. The quick maneuver dodged the flames, but was suddenly struck by a thunderbolt from above. The people look to see the blast Pokemon have its second cannon aimed up, showing its ability to multitask. Use Double Team into a Quadjet, surround and confuse them. Crasher shouted, and with quick execution, 20 Floatzel were encased in water before they rapidly revolved around the arena. The crowd wondered how the fire type would fare against a double team strategy. They noticed how the Magmortar seemed to be following only one Floatzel in particular. Does it know? How is that possible? Is the trainer involved somehow? It became more apparent when 3 Floatzel went through the Magmortar, but it made no move to stop them. Crasher noticed as well, Floatzel, swarm it. Suddenly they all dived down from different angles, except for one that had a blue glow suddenly around it from another use of psychic. The Floatzel made a panicked cry, but Wake was quick to its aid, use acquiring. The suspended Pokemon was surrounded in a ball of water before the noticeable singe marks were beginning to fade. Magmortar did not seem worried and was suddenly engulfed in the blue flames of Flare Blitz and launched up into the healing Weasel. The impact sent the dazed Pokemon further into the sky before another application of Psychic was applied and sent it rapidly into the ice, creating multiple fissures across the field. The blast Pokemon was then engulfed in purple aura before hurtling like a comet into the impact zone, shattering the already crumbling ice field with a vicious Giga impact. Crasher sighed, knowing it was over and returned his oldest friend with a thank you. He looked at his opponent as the referee was announcing the sweep and was very impressed by the display of power. Naruto was giving his massive friend pointers and advice that the Pokemon was taking very seriously. He taught his Pokemon that the words perfection and complacency were just excuses to quit improving and learning. In the VIP box. The elites and professors of the world were again impressed. Multitasking is a relatively hard thing to teach a Pokemon, especially with moves of different elements. The professors were rapidly discussing the possibilities that this one trainer has shown the world that Pokemon can think to this level if allowed to. This trainer was showing that bonds and trust elevate a Pokemon to predict, react, and respond to situations. The champions and elites on the other hand were discussing what training methods he could be using to accomplish this. I believe it is still a psychic communication. Stated the Sinnoh Psychic Elite member. The others looked at him and shook their heads. I have seen you battle Lucian, you and Sabrina for instance are focused completely on the battle. He has his eyes closed or is not even paying attention. Also, he cannot see through the smoke and debris formed from those collisions. Aaron, the Sinnoh Bug Elite, replies with a smirk and Lucian raises a finger to respond but deflates, knowing he was beat here. As the commotion raises, the Pokemon in the back were getting restless and training is the only option for them, so the Stage 2 starters did just that. For one reason, to evolve again. They are focusing mostly on Charmeleon, his evolution is the famously renowned Charizard. The fire-flying dragon would then be used to scout for their trainer and bring him to them. They know he is the one they are meant to join and the waiting is taking its toll. Naruto. Walking down the tunnel with Magmortar, Naruto thinks about the lack of information and activity from the criminal orgs. He began to wonder if maybe they gave false information or if they were scared off with the amount of power present. He contemplates the possibility of an ambush on the final day, but it seems too predictable. He contacts his scouts again and they report the same thing, nothing in the areas, Hess going to have Darkrai and Victini start checking the supports of the buildings tomorrow, but for now, it's time to get back and sleep. A4. Naruto feels a strange foreboding about today. He just got done assigning the patrols for today and informing Lucario and Infernup about their debut in the doubles 4v4 portion today. He arrives at the stadium to hear the normal broadcasts but looks up at the VIP area to see the champions and their elites focused on him. He also notices how tense they seem and notices the professors studying him as if he was a new species. Seems they are suspicious but of what? He ignores it for now and arrives at the main stadium to face someone named Blaze. He sees his opponent is already here and remembers him as the guy he bumped into after his match. Ladies and gentlemen. Today's 4v4 doubles round begins with the blue corner. The new sensation in the battling world, Nathan Masons. The crowd cheers loudly. In the red corner we have the explosive but mysterious, Blaze. The crowd cheers but with noticeably less energy. Competitors. The stage is Woodlands. Release your first two Pokemon. The Blaze looks at Naruto with a wicked glint in his eye. Today is the day you fall, Messiah. Naruto's eyes widen before he realizes he overlooked an aspect of the tournament. I forgot to investigate the trainers and staff. As if to taunt him, multiple explosions rock the island and the integrity of the smaller stadiums. He turns to look at the screens when he hears Blaze. You think you are enough to stop us? Let's find out. He notices that the island is surrounded by submarines and can sense vile Pokemon swarming the islands. Blaze laughs manically with his head towards the sky, let the true tournament begin. What if Naruto wins a Pokemon tournament? End here and thanks for watching my video till the end.